Markets is trucking along here to the upside this morning to end what's been a pretty exciting week full of earnings. Definitely the start of that Q1 2026 earnings season. As you can see here, S&P 500 at pre-market highs, just chugging along. Same here with the NASDAQ, though once again seeing a slight divergence in terms of how far the S&P is from yesterday's high versus NASDAQ, a little bit closer to that high of day from yesterday. And we of course have to talk about, as we do lately, we've got this move up in the market, you've got to move down in oil. President Trump saying that the war should end, quote, pretty soon, and that things are going, quote, swimmingly in the Middle East with Iran. So those comments seem to lead to a little bit of this weakness in oil as we see again that push higher in the market. Now, I mentioned earnings season. We got probably our first big report in earnest yesterday after the bell. Of course, TSM yesterday morning, but yesterday evening you get NFLX. Decent report, but there were concerns here with guidance and also the market reacting to the exit at the end of his term in June of Reed Hastings, co-founder, who is also now, I guess, going to be formerly the chair of Netflix's board. So certainly a lot to discuss. Oracle also on track for its best week since 1999 and poised for a 6-day winning streak. So we'll have to see if that comes to play. But there are tons of stocks to talk about today, Sharif.
There is, Dara, and speaking of 1999, this would be Nvidia's best run as well since that time. Already up a little bit here, about 1/3% to start the morning. As you mentioned, though, Netflix down about 10.5%. If they open this way, they're going to be short sale restricted. So all eyes on that. And then Fluence as well, also down here markedly to start the morning, 8 4/5 on the back of that that headline. Tesla as well. There's a lot of Mag 7 names in focus today. Dara, with Apple, good sales in China. That continues to grow after a period of years of not doing that well. 20% increase year over year. Nvidia, Microsoft, Tesla, Google, Meta, they're all in focus. And how can we forget about AMD? What a day yesterday AMD had, guys.
Seems like another big tech-heavy session. What are you guys looking at to start this morning? Good morning, Joe and Neil.
Good morning. And the NASDAQ, by the way, is closing in on its 13th straight up day. Longest winning streak since 2009. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, well, maybe you just want the markets to go down. I don't know, maybe you're into that sort of thing, is what it is. But it looks super strong, hopeful end to the week. But it's been an absolute banger. Like you said, that AMD move yesterday, unbelievable. You had Intel, a lot of the chips showing strength, but you cannot sleep on some of these software names that are just absolutely booming. Oracle, look at the week for Oracle. We started at $136. You're at $183. I mean, Salesforce, left for dead, I would say. Left for dead by many. This was chilling at $163. Now we're at $186. So you've got a lot working. Unfortunately, Netflix, you are the fail of the day because Netflix, with that guidance, down 10%.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix was outpacing the market here, Neil. We were up 14% or so on the year, and the market was only about a couple of percentage points. Now we're about equal, so I mean, that 10.5% drop yesterday, not too good of a look, engulfing essentially multiple up days here, guys, but I think at some point we're going to find somewhat of a rebound. I think there's just too much going on. A fantastic EPS beat, in my opinion, coming from Netflix. So, I mean, 10+%. I think at some point we're going to recover and have the ability to get back to where we were before.
I'd like to hope so. Well, you think I was putting more thought into the whole, like that drop, like the drop on Netflix. I was thinking about, okay, well, if money's coming back into I mean, it's been going into the AI trade and the software names are coming back and some of that tech rebound. Samosas.
Jeez, bro, thanks. Second banana.
Yeah, buddy.
No.
All right, so I got another banana, which I've already opened.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I gotta move these out of the way from yesterday.
Yeah.
Still a couple left.
Randy wants some of them.
I'll put them back in the bag. There's a bag right under there. Usually you have like I forget, what's the name of the sauce you eat the samosas with?
Plum sauce, like a plum sauce kind of.
There's a different kind of, there's like a different sauce that you usually have. When I can eat it at the exact same time. Usually I'm like wasting no time. And like Sean knows I'm just gonna start eating, so he'll talk. Oh, that's a thumbs up?
Heavy thumbs up.
Okay, well then I'm not waiting any. I'm gonna get a bite myself.
Heavy thumbs up.
Heavy thumbs up? Usually you're pretty critical.
That was high quality right there. I mean, no, in all reality, guys, like Look what the market's been doing for the past little bit here. Netflix, unfortunately, going oppo. I think be patient with this one. Pretty big gap down. I think maybe we'll find somewhat of a rebound considering. Like if we pull up the chart here and see, I was looking at it last night and I was looking at some of the options activity, obviously, because I wanted to talk about it. But look how we're trading right now, Neil. We're kind of hovering right below the volume-weighted average price. It feels like we put in that base around $96. We'll talk a little bit more about that in about 15 minutes or so, because you guys know what time it is around that time. But nonetheless, like, this is aggressive, 10 and a bit, and at some point, unless you crack that 96, which I'm not getting necessarily the feels of that right now. I think that this trend line right here, Neil, I know you'll be looking at these. We'll break at some point, and we'll find somewhat of a relief rally here, just because it's been strong as of late as well, too. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Exactly.
There's some places that you can look out to on Netflix at least. Like there was some support down at 94, so if a stock, if a decent sized company that some people like is down over 10% and has the short sell restricted, and in fact, I'm usually looking for a mean reversion break. I just prefer it at a big level. 95 is a good psychological one, and 94 is going to be there as well. August plays. You want this sticky note? Well, I put my note every single day. What's weird is there's always, like, I feel like in the last 2 weeks, there were like 4 or 5 days where we had the same idea for long. But one thing to keep in mind, oftentimes, it's about the trade setup. And like the interesting thing about it, and thank you for the super chat, OPEX Friday as well. I'll give it one like Robinhood. Like you can like the dip buy, and you can have a couple of levels that it comes into, but you still have to make the trade at the end of the day, right? Because like I can look at 2 levels on Robinhood for a dip buy and play them both, and it can work out great, and then I can buy the higher lows and all that stuff and be my best stock. Or I could completely muddle this one, blend it into the next one, and come out with a loss. And it's like, well, the 2 levels you liked, one of them was gold. All you had to do is have some risk management at the other. So you have to remember, like, all about the plan.
Thank you very much.
And that's what we're all about here. Well, the coffee as well. Randy's not playing around.
He's not playing around today, man. He's usually not in on Fred. What are you doing here today?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, but I already know the spiel. What time are we looking at an exit of Randy today? At 2 o'clock, 2:30?
Ooh, he says it's Friday.
This lucky guy, man. You're gonna stick around today?
You know what you gotta stop doing, Randy? You gotta stop selling Ford at $12.75, Randy.
No.
See, now, anyone that, if you own, Randy is usually fairly critical of Ford.
Fairly.
A little bit. So I'm going to say that whomever was doing this, it's an interesting pattern. It's just 3 days. When was the last time you saw a stock with this obvious of a sell level? Literally, $12.75, 3 days in a row, the exact same high. Yeah, well, Randy release the offer so people can get the win. We're kidding. Obviously, if you can't tell, then we're just joking.
Let me say something, Neil. Last night, so what I do typically is I'll go home and I'll rewatch what we do there at the board in the morning just to see where we can improve and everything like that. But we have to give credit where credit is due. And not only was I just watching how I can improve, but I was reading through some of the comments. And honestly, every single individual out there couldn't be more positive and couldn't have said nicer things. And I personally I'm being dead serious.
Oh, sorry, I just saw this message and I was like...
And I couldn't be more thankful for those individuals. So, I mean, the absolute positivity and the feedback has been amazing, and it definitely means significantly more than whatever you guys could imagine. So thank you all very, very much.
Cecilia, you know he's a heartfelt message to our viewers, and then you got to try to catch me eating. I see what's up. All right, I'm gonna eat this samosa, and I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna eat it when it's on. I'm off camera, and you're not gonna get me.
There you go.
JKL, thank you for the super chat. Yesterday you did a hike with a weighted vest.
Yeah.
Right? Or was that was yesterday or Wednesday?
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah, weighted vest hike.
And today, arms and shoulders report. You're swinging short the cues.
Okay.
You know what? I actually, whoops.
That's bold.
There we go. I mean, 12-day win streak. How long can it possibly go on? What would be some signs that it could turn around or that maybe we should top? 2 days in a row of deciding. I don't know if I'm putting Nvidia 200 on the note today, but like I should. 2 days in a row, Nvidia tops out and turns at the 200 level. It's Friday. You feel like there's still going to be a wall there.
Yeah.
So that could be one thing that holds us back. You got a lot of things, and just when you're talking the NASDAQ, let's just talk about like the big boys, right? Like you look at the biggest names and where they're chilling. Thank you, Dark Pool Wick on Alphabet. Here, we'll look at the daily chart. Like that comes right into it's not the top, but the 340 level ticks it yesterday and a little bit of a pullback. You look at what's going on with Apple. It ticked in, made a high, huge rejection underneath, like it was like 269, not 270, but a huge rejection for them. You talk about Microsoft and just sort of going down the line. And where is like, Microsoft, and I think probably because it's like the software thing, it's the only one that's in a breakout this morning. Oddly enough, look at Microsoft at what price yesterday?
Yeah. Is that the daily?
420. That was the 15-minute. So 420, 3 times yesterday made the high. So there's not much that's in the NASDAQ that's in breakout territory with the exception of Microsoft. Everything has to chew through. Like Apple needs to chew through a little something. Nvidia needs to chew through a little something. Alphabet needs to chew through a level this morning. When you get that at the end of the week, it can be tricky.
There goes Netflix, though.
Bouncing?
Back into 97.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I was talking about. Just how we were hovering. Like, I mean, guys, we can write this on a sticky note, or I could just tell you exactly what I'm looking at here today. I think the latter half is a little bit easier. IBIT, Netflix, and then TSLL. Those are going to be my primary. We're going to focus on them all day throughout the session. You're going to hear me go on about them quite a bit. We're going to get in sync with the stocks and see what kind of movement we're going to find here today. TSLL climbing higher, but I'll be honest as well too, as I am. I don't know why I have to say that, but anyways, I don't love the climb in the pre-market. I would like to see hovering a little bit below, not this high above the volume weighted average price in the pre-market. I don't typically love that, especially for the long side.
I'm never a fan of it either. I find the best.
See some intraday selling.
I think it's weird. Like I find like the best long setups was a really good samosa. Is when you get the false break of the low and the reversal.
Exactly.
Or just the pure consolidation break.
Exactly.
The one where you're having to chase an uptrend, and then okay, well, what do you do? Like, what would be an example? Okay, well,
you need another 5.
This is not. They were really good. Okay, something's happening to. I was about to make an example of AMD, but there's something happening over here in AMD. It just kind of dropped $5 here, while the market is absolutely fine. There was another stock, by the way, that need to chew through a big level. Not really seeing anything or hearing anything in particular. Maybe there's somebody else that's moving, and it could be sympathy, but I didn't hear anything in my ear. I'm gonna maybe restart that. But anyways. AMD really moving downside. Yeah, decent volume. It's decent, but not huge volume on that AMD. Now, what I was sort of getting at is when you have an early, like a move before the open, like, well, it already did the break, and now you have to sort of, if you want to join it, you have to weather an $8 pullback yesterday when something had already bounced, and maybe it didn't even look that great a setup until like 266, unless you're just sort of sticking the bid in there. Like it's a lot easier when you're playing into a tighter consolidation. It is what it is. So AMD moving around a bit. Let's see what Nvidia is doing. I want to make sure there's nothing really. Yeah, Nvidia is not doing a thing. What is Broadcom doing here? Just gonna go mosey on about some of these names. Yeah, Broadcom's doing absolutely fine. Intel's not moving. Looks like it's something specific to AMD to the downside.
Yeah, we definitely find something out about that. Maybe there's anything along those lines with AMD. I'm not seeing anything just yet, but it might take a little bit to read. So again, but you got to think, like Neil, you were mentioning not too long ago how much of a run this name has been on. So.
Oh my goodness, the run on AMD has been insane.
Yeah, exactly. A lot, some big time runs, and same thing with Netflix. Like we were talking about, hey man, you're up like 30% or so off of that low. Things are going to take a breath, and unfortunately, it was just as aggressive as as it was last night, 10%, but slowly starting to recover. You can see we were down 10.5%. Now we're just flat at 10, so half percentage gain in the span of a couple of minutes. So not too bad whatsoever. We have the Raptors Saturday as well, too.
Yeah.
Raptors versus the Cavs.
Playoffs. At least somebody's in the playoffs.
Someone's in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, chip in a chair.
That's all you need.
All you need is a chip in a chair. It's just like, it's like when you're trading. Like as long as your account's alive, right?
Yeah, you're alive, baby. That's what we say.
Well, it's an interesting thing. That's why a lot of traders will say they never want to lose like everything on a single trade if they're a day trader, because you want to give yourself some room. Like looking at that AMD move, like the NASDAQ just broke the top. I showed you most of the other chip names are looking fine. Netflix even just cut a micro bid. Micron just broke HOD, which, by the way, is eerily close to its top. Well, it was a triple top, and the third part of it is really hanging around here. So yeah, AMD. Kind of crazy, but you know what is also crazy? No way that's really moving, KC. KC in the chat, MYSE has more news. What is dead may not die. Sharif, man, we should just. It's weird because of what happened this morning, and this is a complete coincidence. Like there was this. Oh, MYSE is an AMD. Okay, you know what? Let's go to the desk because there's a headline here for MYSE. I was just chuckling because it's up again.
Yeah, here it is, guys. MYSE accepted into the AMD AI Developer Program. That's all I can really see. Facilitating access to AMD's developer cloud credits, advanced tools, training, and community resources, which are apparently designed to support and accelerate the AI development phase. That's as much as I can see. I don't know what you have, Adara.
Yeah, I have the exact same thing. Always going to be careful, too, with these headlines where companies are a part of a program that's affiliated with a big tech. We know that sometimes if you claim affiliation with these big techs, they get upset at you. We know that happened to a small cap a while ago where they said they were part of this Microsoft program, and then Microsoft said, oh, like basically pulled out, we don't know her, even though they were part of this program. So again, sometimes some of these companies get kind of cagey with companies they invite into these programs, so be aware of that here. Either way, MYSE is to the upside on that story. Let's talk, though, some NFLX, a name that is decidedly not to the upside here. We did have pretty decent report across the board. Certainly guidance was a concern, and Reed Hastings, co-founder, is going to be stepping down. Well, not stepping down, rather. He's just not going to run for re-election as the chairman of the board in June. So once June hits, he's just going to let his term run out. He's not going to run again. He's going to be done as chairman. We'll go through this again in the rundown. What were some of the numbers here, Sharif?
Yeah, it's a bit of an artificial report here, guys, boosted by that $2.8 billion termination fee, which was paid to them, of course, for the breakup of the Warner Brothers tie-up there. So revenue came in at $12.25 billion. That was a 16% increase year over year on the quarter. But that net income number, $5.28 billion. That was versus last year where they printed 2.89. So you're probably wondering why. Why is it so much higher? Well, again, that $2.8 billion termination fee also boosting the EPS, which came in at $1.23 versus the 66 pennies that they had last year. But again, that's not directly comparable because of that one-time line item. The sell-off likely driven by the quality of the earnings, the one-time boost, as well as what Adira mentioned, the forward guidance concerns. Let's talk a little bit about that forward guide. Full-year revenue guidance maintained the same as they had guided last time, $50.7 billion up to $51.7, so about $1 billion range. Q2 revenue expected to grow a healthy 13% year over year on the quarter, and content spending is being front-loaded here, meaning that in later quarters in the year, you may not see as much spend. Hence, therefore, your EPS may be a bit better. So a bit of front loading when it comes to that. Ad business, Adara, a key growth driver. They're targeting $3 billion in ad revenue this year.
Yeah, I think the ad's certainly something to watch here. And interestingly enough, we know the stock really liked the idea here, Sharif, of this merger being broken up. But it looks like even though, benefiting the stock short term could be some leading to some concerns about the company in the longer term. What's the look here, Neil?
Yeah, I think one of the things that you all really have to consider on any earnings name or in any situation where you have an highly anticipated report, what do we do going into it? So it is what it is. the bigger catalyst was that WBD breakup, the Warner Brothers breakup, and that really caused the stock to spike. I know the market came as well, but this was going regardless. The other thing to consider with Netflix is there was a point where it was trading as like a safety type of stock, or just relatively safe compared to some of the other AI trade. And I think when you have money going into and the chips starting to lead again, and you get like all the mags starting to go again, then suddenly you can get a little bit of rotation out. So there's definitely some register ringing. But on the daily here, like we got the 50 period is going to be at 92. You've got some support at the 90 level. So for me, there's only two, like there's those levels to look at for a dip buy, and then there was that 100 level last night. And we showed you guys live. You stuck around, we stuck around for the earnings, and there was an attempt, there was a buyer that attempted to hold the 100 level. When it eventually broke, there was just an all-the-world seller at $100. And now that makes sense, it's a psychological level. But I do feel if it's gonna extend further, I'd be waiting till the 92 to 94 range to look for that bounce. And if it pops into 100, like even though it's like above VWAP, it's a bit of a trend break there, like any bounce long, if it sees 100 this Friday, I'd be looking for a reverse at that price. My suspicion, you get the end of the week here, we've had a lot of volatility, should be some good options opportunities with Joe.
Absolutely, guys. Let's take a look at some of the actions in the derivative world from yesterday. We're going to be taking a look. There's going to be some changes to these contracts after the open, considering the move that we've seen here in Netflix. I mean, we were down 10.5% at those lows. So be prepared for drastic change after the open, okay, guys? So we're going to kick things off. Why are we talking about $110? Well, I mean, we closed around 106, 107 yesterday. I want us to focus on the open interest as we typically do, 58,900 contracts there. And that's going to be substantially more than what we're seeing across the board throughout this expiration cycle. Don't forget, it's going to be expiring at the end of the day. Now, as for the volume, substantial 67.9 thousand contracts opened and closed on yesterday's session. Once again, we're sitting at this $110 strike price. Now, as for our bid and ask, guys, we're sitting on a $5 spread. Why are we looking at this? It's just because when leading into that earnings report, it was a clean flush. There was no usually rally to the top end, and then it fails. It was just straight downward pressure within the underlying asset. Now we can see our delta metric sitting at that 0.43. That is going to drastically be reduced after the open. Your gamma exposure as well too, considering we're going to be farther out of the money. But one thing that I want us to focus on is essentially the implied volatility. 176.6%. Be cautious when you're trading this from an intraday standpoint, because the volatility has increased and you're going to see more of a fluctuation and an increase in the average true range. Now, I want us to focus on the contract as well too, guys. You can see from the 10th, it's gone from approximately 50 cents, a little bit less than that, all the way up to $2.25. You're going to see a drastic change in the value of this contract, but then you'll also have the increase in premium from the increase of implied volatility as well. Now, moving forward, oh, yes, you guessed it, we're talking about Netflix once again, but we are going to be moving to the put side, guys. Why? Because we want to see where we're going to find a potential base. Now, we were trading around $96 this morning, and we started to find somewhat of a bounce. That's positive, and that's exactly what we want to see. Open interest, guys, at this is going to be the largest on this week's expiration cycle, but we want to focus on what's going to happen next week as well, too, because these are going to most likely expire worthless, and then sure enough, you want to see where that rotation is going to fall into. 15,300 contracts there with volume around 11,000. You can see a decrease within the options premium here in this specific put. That is going to be the 95 put. Look for a little bit of a bounce in just after the open. Now, as for our delta metric, you can see it was farther out of the money. That's not necessarily going to be the case, considering we are closer to at the money. And then we're looking at a quarter on the bid and 26 cents on the ask. Implied volatility is going to be the same on the put side. But moving forward, we're running into earnings season, so let's talk about some potential strategies that we can use within our options tools. All right, guys, we're going to kick things off, and we're talking about Intel reporting next week. okay? I wanted to talk about Tesla, but we've been going on about Tesla for quite some time. But what I want you guys to notice of how I'm placing the contracts as well too, because there's a little bit more detail. I'll show us where our short call should be, where our long call, etc. But you can see I have two of the exact same strike prices side by side of the same name. $70 on the put side, $70 on the call side. This is called a straddle, guys. So when you are leading into an earnings report, if you don't know if it's going to be a bullish move or a bearish move, but you want to participate in the potential exceeding of the expected move, this is one of the strategies that you can implement via options for that specific earnings report. So what essentially we have is a long call here and a long put. So it's synthetically we are going short on the put side and we are long on the call side. What is that going to do? It is going to give us a 1-to-1 ratio. So if we do break the expected move on one end, then your long call will outweigh your short put or your long put, or if it breaks to the downside, your long put will outweigh your long call. That is the objective. But first things first, we have to look at some of our risk metrics. You can see right at this $70 mark, if you beat it on either end, that's where you're going to start to see some of those gains. Now, probability of profit, guys, 42%, not too bad. And you can see that your max return essentially infinite. That is due to the long call. But we always want to focus on risk, right? And max loss sitting at that $820. So the max that you can lose is $820 when you buy both of those contracts combined, okay? So just keep that in mind, guys. There's some other metrics that we can focus on as well too, but that is the straddle, buying the exact same strike price on the call and on the put side, looking to exceed that expected move, and you have to wait until the open in order to close those contracts. But the key feature and the key thing is to exceed the expected move. Otherwise, day by day, you will lose money to implied volatility. This isn't a strategy that you hold on to too long after the earnings report, and I think that's something really important to note, guys. Let's send it back to Neil.
I really quickly want to read this headline here on your screen because, as you can see, USO is dropping on this. Axios reporting that the U.S. is considering a $20 billion cash for uranium deal with Iran. If I get more details, I'll let you know. But again, according to Axios, there could be a $20 billion cash for uranium deal between the U.S. and Iran. You do have this move lower here, in oil market moving a little bit higher. I'll go over now to Neil and Joe.
It was already looking good, and we're looking a little bit better now. Look, anything you can say whatever you want about like the nature of the negotiations or what should or shouldn't happen, but if you start talking along those lines, it's going to be positive momentum towards an end and further pullback in USO. Which, if we're really being honest about oil, like it's only now breaking a bit of this uptrend. Like this has had like a good uptrend. This is the confirmation, in my opinion, of the break of the trend line here on this move since the war started. And you're going to have some strength come back into any movement to the downside. Some strength come back into some of the airline names. You get like 5 airlines reporting next week. Yeah, it's a busy week for them. So let's see if you get UAL. Yeah, UAL with a spike to the upside.
We have Tesla next week as well too.
Of course.
And Intel.
It's a busy. Intel, Tesla, but you're going to see AAL here. Delta, I just heard in my ear, Delta also moving. Not huge, but a decent move. The one that I usually come back to on strength, I'm a fan of Carnival. And I look at what the destruction that Carnival had yesterday. Obviously, I didn't know this headline was going to come, so it's not like this would have been on the note before. Hate the fact that rejected that 200 period Carnival Cruise Lines, but that's a pretty hefty gap. It's a huge level that it rejected yesterday, but it's got a pretty decent gap on it. If we hold 27.7, that looks interesting to me. But I did want to mention one thing about Intel, because you were doing the options, and before we had that headline, my thought was going to be, when you look at a daily chart of Intel, and I kind of spoiled it for everybody. When you look at a daily chart of Intel, unbelievable, right? You look at how crazy this move is, look how extended it is, feels like a meme stock. The fact that it's only now getting to the 2021 and the 2020 highs, or 2019 highs, and isn't even at an all-time high yet is crazy. When you think it puts the move into some perspective. it's starting to get to a point where, yeah, you're thinking, where's that dip or the pullback? Well, the only time that it had that red day, this was maybe not that hard a bullet to dodge. Look at what happens on the 15-minute dip and rip. First candle green, right?
There goes
reversal candle, good. Doesn't even dip. Dip, hold the low, and reverse. No dip at all. Dip, hold the low, and go. So I think this is one of those, hey, I got the prior close here at 68.5. If it puts in a candle that bounces off 68 and then immediately reclaims it, then go for the long. If it doesn't, then look for it to pull back deeper, and the pattern's
look at Flicks go. I mean, Neil, we were talking about this not too long ago. I'm like, hey man, the way that we were consolidating, yeah, exactly, the way we were consolidating around the volume weighted average price not too long ago, we were just going over some of the options activity not too long ago as well. So we're seeing some support levels coming in at that $95 mark. We didn't even get there, Neil, and we're starting to see somewhat of a recovery rally. I mean, we were down 10.5%. We're now down 9.5%. We'll take it for what it is.
It might not be as far.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, I mean, a percentage point, you're still down about $10 or so, which I don't think is that bad. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on this thing, but once again, I don't love these rallies in the pre-market and being so extended from the volume-weighted average price. I got my eyes on MYSE. Once again, you're trading above VWAP here, $4 now on that name. But Tesla, IBIT, $43 for IBIT. You're up about 0.75% there. TSLL, so Tesla up about 1.5% as well too. So I mean, things are starting to look pretty good here. Just be cautious of this pump before we get a dump after the open.
Bitcoin almost 76. You got to be kidding me! Like. It's 76,000, and I'm still starting to say 6.7.
Yeah, 6.7,
absolutely
man.
ridiculous. It's one of those things. Like I try not to say it, and it just gets in your head. No, seriously, you got Bitcoin making a power move and breaking out. Like you look at, I'm showing you guys IBIT, but you're breaking out on a daily chart like any other traditional breakout would go. Random Oddities, I did see your question. Maybe someone else also asked about Broadcom, asking about where the resistance might be. Now, here's the thing. If you're talking about resistance, like the notion of resistance is sellers were before, or some kind of like technical level that you can use like some sort of like a technical indicator to draw. I don't use like Fibonacci's or anything that'd be useful when you're stretching things out. The only thing I see is psychologically you're already through 400, and then you've got the top. Sometimes the answer is a simple one. Do I think that automatically means it stops there? No. But there's really, it's not a blue sky setup, but it's filling in the gap to the high. And sometimes you're able to do things like find a trend line where, like I'll use the example because it's on the brain right now. You have like theoretical resistance on a trend line which holds forever, and then support. I'm looking at Tesla here. Holds both ways. Fantastic. And then when it breaks, explosion. But sometimes there's just nothing there except for the obvious level. So with Broadcom, I would just tell you the highs on that daily chart, and that's pretty much all you're going to be able to find. But wow, it's looking pretty bullish now. We're now 0.5% to the upside. I do want to double check back on, AMD is still down 1.5. So even with the market bounce, like it's looking a little bit weak continuously. And obviously that has nothing to do with that MYSE story, because they're taking part in some free AMD program. AMD seems to be down on its own. Adara, did we find anything with this AMD move? It's curious because there's so much strength. You can always speculate. Well, it was ridiculously strong yesterday. Someone could just be taking some profit off. Yeah, AMD was complete insanity, so it could be as simple as that. But that's a curious one because the market's looking strong. It was such a good leader for sure, and not looking like it today. I feel a little bit better about Intel, which is holding on to some strength.
Yeah.
This one, you don't have to chase the highs necessarily, but you have to be wary. If AMD dropped like that randomly, you might be cautious off the open.
You think? I mean, this thing's been on a pretty good run. I think we're doing a comparison. AMD's been performing a little bit better than Nvidia has, right? Yeah, but someone could just be offloading. But I agree though, Neil. The way it
rub it in there.
Yeah, I mean, hey man. Hey, it's all right. It's all
no, it's a joke. I've been making fun of myself for dip buying Nvidia over AMD all week, so it's
I mean, see, the thing is, though, is it always looks good, but then NVIDIA is going to go on a monster run, and you're going to be like, yeah, we did bought NVIDIA. Well, AMD kind of you get that rotation.
In like October or November,
yeah,
I'll be talking trash. And
yeah, exactly. So yeah,
a wannabe trader says I'm not the only one. So you know what though? At the end of the day, like when you, it's way better to be angry that you bought the wrong thing when everything goes.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's. You know, at least I'm trying to think what hasn't bounced in the market right now. I'm trying to come up with an example of, well, you could have bought this and then this. Like, what hasn't bounced?
That's a great question.
I can't even, off the top of my head, I'm not really coming up with anything. Yeah, because when you have us busting out like this through fresh highs, like if
what's the name that
if you were dip buying something that hasn't gone, like that just
yeah, it sucks. Yeah. But I mean, we've all been there though. Like BMNR.
BMNR? No, BMNR is a huge bounce off the low.
Yeah, I guess
you can't even say something like a BMNR. ETH has had a great move off the low. So even this is up
26%.
Oh, that's right. It just moved to the New York, so that's not going to.
It's up 26% off the lows, so that's not bad. I mean, you'll take that.
Well, if you're not taking 26% off the lows, like the overall market didn't go 20% down, right? We didn't get into bear territory, so if you bounced more than that, then you did pretty well. But that's just how things go. Palantir has been okay. Yeah, that could be an example. But even Palantir off of this like quadruple bottom went 10%.
Hive.
That's not bad. Beyond Meat. Hive.
Yeah,
Hive has probably gone too. I'm willing to, look. Oh, well, yuck. But really,
like off of the lows, right? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why we're looking. Now we're just going down into the weeds.
Yeah, we are.
I was trying to come up with like more widely held examples in tech. Okay.
Yeah.
Going to Hive probably defeats the purpose of the experiment, everybody. But before we mosey on a little bit more, we'll go back up to the desk. Sharif. Any guesses at what the top was for MYSE? I'll give you one.
Looking.
Not looking. Intraday, yesterday. One. Okay. 420. All right, there you go, Neil. I'm sitting there trying to look. I'm like, where is this guy looking? Yeah, 420 on the dot. I don't know, man. This one is struggling a little bit here, and we've got highs yesterday that were still below. We got through that $6 area. I'd like to see this one approach some of the highs that we were at yesterday. I'm not a big fan of these second and third day plays on the small cap gappers unless there's something really special about them. Most of them fade, but hey, we're going to keep this one on the side chart. We didn't even look at it yesterday. I know Joey was looking at this one during the midday. I didn't even pull it up, so I won't keep my eye on this one unless it's above VWAP, Adara.
Yeah, there's a couple headlines I want to talk about. For one, we did have President Trump post in Truth Social. Just be aware, this is active. He's just talking about how the USA is the hottest country in the world, using lots of caps lock. There's nothing really massive here, but just be aware he is posting, and we know especially if these happen like during market hours, like the first hour, regardless of what it says, it can and sometimes does move the market. Now, speaking of moving the market, we had this pop here in the S&P 500. I did mention about half of the story, which is, again, the U.S. considering a $20 billion cash for uranium deal to end the conflict with Iran. Also, Axios, which reported that first story, they're furthermore reporting here that we could actually be getting more talks here between the U.S. and Iran in Islamabad. So that could be interesting. Sharif, do you actually think we get some kind of resolution here this weekend or before that Tuesday deadline to end the ceasefire?
God, I hope so, Dara. Yeah, you know, because it's been a long time coming, but you kind of feel like we're probably at the tail end of this thing. The narrative has kind of changed, and quite frankly, I'm starting to hear a little bit of softness of tone from the Iranians, which hadn't been the case. They were pretty quick to come out and kind of dispute any statements that President Trump has making. You're not seeing as much of that anymore. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. I mean, the market, you know, money talks and you know what walks, right? So when the market moves into highs, there's a lot of smart people who are predicting that this is probably at the tail end. That's my feeling, Adair.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. As we know, President Trump said the conflict's going swimmingly, so maybe we do get this resolution. In the meantime, though, I mean, you've got Nvidia, you've got AMD. We certainly have chips on watch. AMD, I still have not seen any reason for this move, Neil. It's a lot of people on social media going, hey, why is AMD moving? But yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple catalysts on watch for these two.
Yeah, what a monster day this had yesterday. Completely took me by surprise. And there was no catalyst specific to this one. It was a read-through for Taiwan Semi, because Taiwan Semi, of course, reported earnings yesterday. And Taiwan Semi is a key supplier for AMD's two main AI accelerators. We're talking about the MI300, Joey, and the MI450 that I know you talk a lot about, as well as their EPYC CPUs. And because Taiwan Semi guided so aggressively, the market's reading through that AMD obviously is going to have the same type of demand. Specifically, though, they're looking at the advanced nodes. We mean 3 nanometers and below, and packaging, specifically, which benefits AMD's high-performance chips. They're increasingly positioning themselves as the second major supplier to the hyperscalers. We know that they have a tie-up with Meta, possibly even giving up some equity there to Zuck and company, as well as OpenAI. And your favorite stock, Adara, Oracle.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I put this in the chat this morning. We're going to give credit to the Oracle bulls this week because they've had a great week. And as I said, my issue with Oracle has always been more fundamental than technical. One more story to mention before we go over to the guy CRML popping up here. Greenland approving the company's purchase of the remaining 50.5% stake in Tanbreeze. Now CRML has 92.5% ownership of Tanbreeze. Good look for critical metals here. How are you guys viewing about these stocks?
Where do we
how I
start,
feel?
really?
I feel, Joe,
Yeah.
that if you're an equity trader and you're looking to scale in these great markets, then Prop Shop Trader is a multi-asset proprietary trading firm designed to remove the typical barriers that traders face. You can trade stocks without pattern day trading restrictions and no licensing requirements, while also accessing futures markets within the same environment. Prop Shop Trader offers both day trading and swing trading programs, giving traders the flexibility to manage multiple accounts and deploy different strategies. Why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Scan the QR code to unlock 60% off your first account, plus buy one, get one free. Get started today. Although maybe it's you won't want to come and play in AMD's market. It's a curious one. You know, let's get we get a super chat there that I wanted to, if we can throw that up, Andre, first, and then we can get into some of these chips. JKL. Appreciate you. Thanks for super chat. Sorry, one more. You saying sorry when you're sending us a super chat? That's
insane.
That's what a Canadian would do that. Like it's, yeah, sorry. You know, here's $2. Sorry, I'm asking a question. No, it's all good. Which is more of a comment here. It's I hate gap ups on option expiration days.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, it's just I wanted the market not to be doing. I was looking for things that are just sort of maybe consolidating. Yeah, it puts you in that whole, where's my button? I don't think that's loud enough. You guys hear that well? Like, for us, that's very quiet, almost too quiet. It feels a little bit trappish, but like, did AMD just start to spring the trap a little bit? Like, give us a sign that the strongest name in all of tech yesterday is turning into, starts us off with a bit of a pullback. Like, it just made another fresh, ridiculous high. Look at what yesterday stands out with on a huge week. Like, you already had this going a good, 9%, I think, and going back to the 8s. That's not even like it's not even starting last week actually, but still, if you look at from one gap to the next, and then you did that entire move, you're talking about like 6 days of upward movement. And it did it all yesterday in one shot. And then even when it pulled back, it then regained the high. So to fail that double top, I was thinking the Nvidia 200 level would be the spot. Like, that's the key. Like, if we get through there, if you fail it again, like, that would be like a reversal short. If it's going to be a fake out, then let it be the Nvidia 200 fake out. But I'm really starting to think, after what we're already seeing in AMD, that AMD could be the one. Like, if this tries to break the high and fails, that the turnaround would just be bigger in that name. I think when you're looking at Oracle, and just as impressive, Oracle had its AMD day several days ago. This feels to me like it has more room. It's Friday. But when you look at the charts, it's like there's obvious, like, look at all the consolidation here, the $200. So this one feels like it has a little bit more room to run. The one I'm looking long today, I already mentioned Intel, but I might be shifting from that Nvidia 200 to look at that AMD top. That's the only thing that I'm thinking a bit differently about as we go into this open. If we're gonna have a trap and you think there's a reversal, like, sure, that Nvidia level held 2 days in a row, but man, if AMD pulls back, there's just so much more room for it to go.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, what I'm thinking here, Neil, is we kind of just have that breakthrough, right? And then we've just been consolidating above this, essentially this congestion zone here, which I think is good. So whatever's been this accumulation, maybe we're ready to break. But if we climb a little bit higher, I highly doubt that we'll just make that run for that all-time high. It can happen, but you also have to take into consideration the run that we've been on since that low. It's like 20% there. A retest of this 192, 195, and then a continuation is healthy. But again, we talk about the length of a consolidation, and then typically the longer it is, the bigger the breakout can possibly be. That might be the case, right? Especially leading into earnings. The hyperscalers are spending more. They're going to grab more Nvidia chips. I think that can help move this name to that all-time high. But at some point, you will experience a little bit of a pullback, and I think that'll be a good dip buying opportunity. The options chain is just through the roof with this name, especially leading into the earnings report. I know it's the last one and doesn't report until like June or something, or along those lines, early June or whatever it may be. But anyways, aside from that, it's just be patient with this one. I've seen somebody in the chat say NVDA is dead money. I don't think that's necessarily the case. This is like, I mean, it's unfortunate, right? Like you consolidate from July, essentially you just trade within a $20 range, but it gave you multiple opportunities to get involved. I personally bought more of this in my long-term account, and I'm going to continue to buy a little bit more, especially at the break. We talk about the break of the all-time high being a good strategy. Just let it get that push, because what we typically see, Neil, is you break through and you get, oh, okay, cool, all-time highs, profit takers, you see somewhat of a pullback, does whatever, pulls back another couple percentage points, and then continues on that path a little bit higher. So that's kind of the narrative that I'm thinking here with NVDA. You're not the best in the market just because there's reasons behind it. You're not going to be the largest capitalization company and be dead money, in my opinion. So let's see what NVDA can bring in the coming months.
Another big spike down for USO here. That's good. Bigger spike than the previous. We just had it drop a good $2. So oil futures go down. You have a pretty good idea of what that means for the Qs. Just tagged a fresh high. Again, bit of a topping tail candle pressing that fresh high. And over the last 24 hours, 24 vessels have crossed the strait. That's news we want to hear. That's not enough, but it's good. It's not enough, but it's good. That's okay. Don't freak out. Dark pool wick. So in the pre-market, if you're just sort of tuning in now, or maybe you don't have dark pools in your charts, you'll get some like late reported overnight prints that will just pop in, and it might make it seem like
from that run
happening.
From that run.
But we're breaking it. We are breaking out. No questions asked in the market. So it's definitely looking. It's definitely looking good here. Look, unless you're looking at energy names.
Yeah.
Or the VIX. Maybe you're long VIX and you're like, well, that's not going too well. But there is something in energy. Before we go back up to the desk there, Oxy's breaking the 50-period moving average. But as some of these oil names come back and the energy names come back, I don't want to like lump them all and just say it's only oil. If you get back to that dip buy level when they had their earnings, on their earnings it was a breakout level on the daily. You were kind of breaking that trend, and then it dipped and got bought back into the 50. So while we lose this 50 period or potentially get a bit of a drawback because the war could be ending or conflict ending, I think that 50 spot on Oxy is looking pretty appealing, because I think some of these might fall too far. And they're already off the highs pretty significantly. Let's go back up to the desk. Oh, or not. Let's go back to Joe.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off. A lot of energy names here today, guys. On the downside, we got Shell going from an outperform to a neutral weight by BNP. And then we also have Clorox. You're down 0.5% here, guys. Price target being reduced from $117 to $99 by JP Morgan. And then we also have Newmont, guys. You're down about a little bit less than 0.4%, going outperform to sector perform by National Bank. And then we have Exelon here, down 2.12%, with a $1 price reduction here by Barclays. Now let's take a look at some of the upgrades this morning. A lot of energy names, as I just mentioned, but in the negative, ExxonMobil. Here, you're down 0.8%, And then we also have Chevron here, guys. You're down about 1/5%. BMP on both of those upgrades there. And then we have Texas Instruments as well, too, guys, getting a price target increase from $160 to $215 by Mizuho. You're up 1.25 this morning. And then Netflix at the lows was down about 10.5%. Now starting to recover a little bit here, guys. But Piper saying they're giving them the nod and upgrading them and increasing their price target from $103 to $115.
We're going to go over to Neil here in a second to talk about these upgrades and downgrades. In the meantime, we mentioned energy downgrades. I have another energy catalyst for you guys. We've got Foreign Minister Araghchi of Iran saying that apparently for the remainder of the ceasefire, passage for all commercial vehicles through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open. So again, as the ceasefire continues, or until the ceasefire ends, rather, you're going to get entirely open passage here of commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. We already heard some data from intelligence firm for trade here, Kepler. They already said they are seeing ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Again, passage now apparently completely free, rather like in terms of being allowed to access. No, I'm not talking about tolls here. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. You see the NASDAQ make another spike higher. You've got USO popping down through 117. I don't usually... Yeah, well, Palantir was a 145 breakout for me on the note anyway, so I want to play this one into, this was part of the independent plan regardless, but with that move in USO, my goodness, 116 now to the downside. Here, I got to, you're already through the last week's bottoms here on USO, so it's a hefty move to the downside. Obviously some fresh highs pretty much everywhere. I see some super chats, GMO. For sure. Is AMD getting a bit of a pop? My first thought is, all right, I still feel pretty, okay. I feel like AMD can't get through the highs. If there's anything that doesn't look strong, it might be that. But I might also think that about PLTR. I don't usually like taking my breakout plays in the pre-market. Like I like that double top, and it was on the plan anyways, and then you get the headline, and your stop order's out there, you get triggered in. But I'm questioning, like, it's 8:52 right now. I don't know. I don't love that punch in. Usually I wouldn't put the order in until like 9:15 or so. Whatever. I'll give it the regular stop. I'll still give it to the pre-market low and give the same play. But I am thinking about this AMD and the fact that it does not want to punch through. If we can't go green on AMD here, then yuck, and more yuck. And I'm immediately. The next thing I'm going to do when I throw to Joe is I'm going to pay for shorts on that battle. Oh, it's too late. It might be too late. I was going to pay for shorts on battle and see if I couldn't just hit the bid. I think this falls even further apart. I hope so. I hope CrowdStrike.
426. Let's go.
Come on, CrowdStrike.
Yeah, let's go, CrowdStrike. Thanks for that call out there, guys. I mean, gapping up with the overall market here. We take a look at it from the 5-minute. Overall market just essentially moving higher. You can see there's big time liquidity issues, but a lot of this is a gap up. Now going up to 426.50. We like this from CrowdStrike. The market's really moving here, guys. I think at this point, with USO to the downside, and then we have the overall market climbing higher, it's just wait for a pullback. If this conflict is going to continue to cool, you get these deals done, you wait for a pullback. If it runs into the volume-weighted average price across the board and you see a little bit of a bounce, it's just go with the flow and see if we can get a continuation into the long side here. I think that's going to be the narrative on the session, unless it's going to be an absolute tank city, which I'm not getting the feels for quite yet. So nice gap up. I mean, right at the open, you're going to see the NASDAQ at new all-time highs. You're going to see the SPY at new all-time highs as well, too. So it's only a matter of, 37 minutes before we see that. Unless the market decides that it wants to tank, I don't think that's going to be the case. We're going to see a lot of strength in today's session. Tesla continuing to climb. You're up over 1% here, closer to 2. Bitcoin up 1 1/5. And then you can see that Netflix was climbing up to 98.60. So you were down 10.5%, and then went down to about 8 3/4. So, I mean, some good looks so far. Again, we talked about this, Neil. I don't love the pre-market rallies, but what I'm getting the feels of is it's so strong, there might be a little bit different of a narrative here.
Well, the straight open, right? And remember, the straight open for the duration of the ceasefire is going to be I think the big key. But the other thing that I usually think you can find in a situation like this, and it's sort of why I went over to AMD, is more of along the lines of, okay, well, what isn't breaking out prior highs, right? Like Apple's up 1.8, not through the top, like yesterday's tops. I'll even grant you, like even the one I'm in, like, you know, I look at Palantir, like that broke. Not doing anything with this breakout, and we're still pressing higher. So I don't know if that's going to be it. I like what's going on in crypto. I wish I had taken that breakout instead because I like IBIT today. And that one was also a breakout, but you take the one you take. I thought we'd be going dip buy action here, but I'll be patient. I'll go for this one on a dip. I liked Robinhood yesterday for the long. I liked IBIT a little bit more, but that's got some room to the top. I might be patient, waiting for a dip, not wanting to chase any moves up there into the prior high and the $90 level as well. So appreciate it. And Mr. Westermeyer in the chat, I saw you, but I didn't see your super chat. And if we missed the super chat, apologies, but I don't recall seeing. I don't think I saw that one. I didn't think we had missed any. There was just this one here, but it wasn't from you, Daniel. So it's from Ron. Oh, sorry. Where'd it go? All right, we'll throw it back up there. There it is. It's from Gmo. I don't know, what is the RON? I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. CRM going to
47 Ronin.
Critical metals. There was another. What else was moving? It was USAR. USAR was also going pretty decently this morning, but nothing like this on CRML. Though, look at that reversal. Look at the huge reversal count. That's the problem. Like, you chase these headlines early, and sometimes you get caught. Like, you do not want to get caught at the absolute top. Like, always have your stop and know where your drawback is going into. I think that's the only reason why I kind of stuck with the Palantir one, because like it's a pretty standard breakout play. I throw my stop in the same spot pretty much every time. But yeah, this has been a good runner, and this is new breakout territory for CRML. Like, you're back above moving averages, kind of held that level. The only thing you got to consider is, well, the structure of this has been lower highs. So it's one of those, like, temper your expectations sometimes when you've got this kind of structure sort of obvious in the chart. And then I know USAR was making some moves too. Very similar chart. That's why the first thing I thought of was USAR, because I had looked at this morning. Very similar, maybe not as strong percentage-wise, but if you're looking for, I think it's like a little bit more liquid. Just hasn't done as much volume. So good luck, and thank you for the super chat there. Yeah, the market's still going. USO just hit 115 and still falling.
Frank Trade says, geez, we rich now. I mean, the long-term accounts are definitely.
Good day to look at the long term.
What's that?
Good day to look at your.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Over the past couple of days, I've been enjoying the look at the long term. I mean, it's been a nice rally. But, I mean, with Bitcoin being one of my largest holdings, I think it's sitting in that second place now, Neo, considering I reduced. It's still down 40%, but we'll take it. We'll take it for what it is, right? It's better than nothing and better than for it continuing to slide. So Netflix, I added a little bit more after that trend line break. Paramount, Skydance deal, they're dropping out of that. That's a good time to add. That was a good time. We added a little bit more Nvidia. So those were the only two dip buys that I really got involved with not too long ago, and I think that's about it. I'm not sitting on very much cash anymore. At that point, I was only sitting on a couple percentage points. Now I'm sitting on like chump change, essentially, some fees and maybe a couple of transactions here.
That's usually.
So I'm fully allocated at this point.
That's usually right. When the market gets back to the highs after, when it goes into correction territory and you get back to the highs, like the goal usually is to have gotten back to as fully allocated as possible.
Exactly.
So I'm always like. Yeah, I'm always like, when you don't quite accomplish that, you're like, now we're at the tops. But it's not a bad problem to have at the end of the day. But like this move, we can just start going over, like it's crazy. Like I see Micron, this, and look at PayPal, that. It's one of those types of mornings where, yeah, this is what we're gonna be seeing. PayPal, like I could go on and say, oh my goodness, look at how great that PayPal breakout's looking now, but I'm not. Like, did I know that today we were going to get this news? No. Whatever. Like, you knew it might be coming, but a lot of these names, it's really just about what they were doing, good structural, like find a balance, find an entry, find a trade example, and then what happens is sometimes you'll be sitting in something which looks bullish, and then you get news like this. But you are seeing USO taper off a little bit. That's why I'd be a little bit cautious. I want to see the first wave of buying come back into USO, and then the reaction to this will give us a bit of a tell. Because I went over, I paid for the battle shorts, and then I'm looking at Boyle again. And if we pop here, I want to look for a chance to be able to fade something in the energy space. If it's USO, it's USO. If it's Boyle, it's Boyle. It's whatever sets up the best. Like that tanked as well. I could look for that to come back into VWAP, maybe whichever one gets to VWAP, and I like the setup. My first thought is going to be to try to fade it. But it's 9 o'clock, everybody, so we got a free watch list to work on through. It was plenty busy without it, and now we all of a sudden have the straight opened up. So buckle up, everybody.
701 3/4, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the spot. We are markedly above that now at 707.5. So let's just say that $10 area, 710, that's going to be our first area of resistance. It's a blue sky setup, so we don't have any technical levels of resistance off which to chart. For support, we're just going to say yesterday's closing print, which is 701 3/4, Adara.
Yeah, we're going to get right now into the Trader TV Live watch list. This is the rundown. A lot of these tickers are going to be on our watch list. Of course, we're going to have breaking news throughout the day, but this is the way to get a sense of everything that we're looking at heading into this session. Again, it's going to be that code right there, that URL rather. Type that into your subscriber. It is free, F-R-E-E, free. Comes every day around 7:50 a.m. Do not miss it, guys. In the meantime, we're going to kick off this watch list with a talk about a stock that we already mentioned earlier today, but I think certainly bears repeating because Netflix was at its pre-market lows here, down more than 10%. Lots to discuss within this report, Sharif.
Yeah, Dara. Interesting report. Revenue, let's talk about that. $12.25 billion. That was a healthy jump year over year, growing at about a 16% bump here. The net income, though, large number printed relative to last year, $5.28 billion in profitability. That's ahead of the 2.89. But again, as we mentioned at the top of the show, that was boosted by the $2.8 billion termination fee that they received for the breakup of the possible merger between Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix. And that also influenced EPS, which came in at $1.23. Compare that to last year when they took 66 pennies home per share. That isn't directly comparable, again, as a result of the termination fee. The sell-off, though, likely driven by the quality of the earnings as well as the one-time boost in, again, the $2.8 billion termination fee. Full-year revenue guide, they maintained between $50.7 billion up to $51.7 billion, so a bit of a billion-dollar range there. Q2 revenue expected to grow at a healthy 13% year over year. Content spending, again, as we talked about at the top of the show, front-loaded to 2026, meaning that the content that they're planning on spending full-year money on is being front-loaded to the first part of the year, so we could see better EPS come the second half of the year. And then that ad business, the key, I should say, growth lever, they're targeting $3 billion in ad revenue for 2026. If they achieve that, that would be a doubling versus what they took home in 2025, which is obviously $1.5 billion. Continued push, Adara, on price increases as well as password crackdown, and the company is really expanding both into live sports and podcasts.
Yeah, and I mean, a story that a lot of people were talking about, take it as you will, is that Reed Hastings is not going to run again for chairman of the board. He's just going to let his term end here in June. This is a story that I think when it first came out, a lot of people were really excited about. But again, he was the chairman of the board. He had not been a CEO for 3 years. He left that post in 2023. He actually said part of why he's comfortable leaving the board is because he has so much faith in what current co-CEOs Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters are doing. I want to tell you guys, I do have another story here that could change things a little bit here with oil in the market. CENTCOM, so Central Command of the U.S., saying of the Strait of Hormuz that apparently 19 ships complied with the direction to turn around at the Strait of Hormuz. So even though we know Iran has basically said that they're ready to open the Strait of Hormuz, U.S. seeming like they still want to have this blockade. If I get more details, I'll let you know. But again, apparently U.S. orders have been followed here at the Strait. Back to you.
Yeah, just very quickly, on cue, like the second, it was weird, like the second that hit, the breakout to the stop. So I'll take the L on that. I could have canceled the order. I elected not to. Most times I would cancel a breakout trade because I didn't want that breakout on news. But I'll come back to it after the open if that's the case. If we do get a bump up, and we are getting a bump up, if we do get a sustained bump up here in USO or in oil, I do have sights on both this and Boyle. I still believe I want to fade these energy names. It's going to hold trend down. If it's going to hold trend down, then I'm going to like it. I think we've already talked a little bit about how we feel about Netflix. The thing that I would say here, Joe, is Netflix had this bottom. You were down over 10%. You held the low. You began a relief rally.
Yeah.
The market went absolutely ham on the straight opening up, and we went to 98.5 on Netflix. We didn't even challenge $100. That would be the one thing. It's given me a little bit of pause to say that this is the bounce. Now, granted, maybe that's because I wanted 94 long, and obviously ended up bouncing off 96. I'm thinking it's looking better for a short under $100 if we couldn't even get there. Like the NASDAQ, we just went to 1% up on the Qs. We just went up to 0.8 there on the ES, and they're still holding some of the highs. I feel like this is not doing too much here on Netflix, and maybe it's still going to be a fade. Now, temporarily, you've got if you were looking for a bounce, you can make an argument that maybe you've gotten it, but that 100 level was so distinct in the aftermarket that if it can't punch through that, if it's closer to 100 than it is to where I look for the support, then I'm looking for a reversion fade on Netflix. I'm not dealing with this in the middle. I wanted it down here for a long. I wanted it up there for a short. I don't want to get chopped around in Netflix today. Maybe even let that one settle down off of the open.
Yeah, I think it's key, right? Like you're in the Palantir trade. I'm looking at the Netflix trade here as well too. And if we want to talk about relative strength, you see the market was continuing to climb. You're getting a breath here now, but with Netflix and Palantir selling a little bit more aggressively, I don't know if you really want to be hyper-focused on them. It's going to remain one of my names because it is trading above 97 if we hold 95. But when we're rallying and then you're not really participating in that, you sell off more aggressively, that's something I'm going to be a little bit more cautious about. I want to see things that are holding up relatively well, and that's going to be the Robinhood right now, putting up $90 plus essentially, and then you have IBIT at around 43.23, and then you also have the SPY and the Qs that are holding up. Tesla holding up around those highs, maybe a push for $400. So, I mean, if things are weak and you're looking for the longs, maybe you get the pullback through VWAP and you get that continuation, but things could also be cleaner because if the market continues on the path that it's currently on, you want to be participating in the names that are stronger than things that are starting to lag a little bit. So, I mean, there it goes. Like, Robinhood is up to 90.40 here. I mean, a big time. Yeah. It's just moving, right? Like, so, I mean, a pullback, strong move. We have a couple catalysts under it, 4% this morning, and we haven't even opened up yet. So we'll keep our eyes on these strong names, and we'll see what we can get. If you get any form of a pullback and that tape flips and you see some strong price action on the ask, it's just like, all right, let's lock and load, and maybe it's going to be one of those sessions where we just grind higher, or things can turn on a complete dime and you give back the majority of the gains that we've got here from this pre-market price action.
Yeah, before we go back to that, we had a super chat I wanted to address. There was already a great answer to this from someone in the chat. The answer in the chat was, don't take tax advice as an American from Canadians. Entirely true. Because you're asking, William, can you explain the wash sale rules concerning taxes? The most important thing when it comes to whatever the trading rules are, you have to understand every jurisdiction, sometimes within your own country, but certainly in other countries will have different rules. The rules in Canada where we live are not going to be the same as where you happen to live in the US or anywhere, any of our viewers in the world. So I don't want, I'm not going to sit here as some kind of an expert to be able to tell you. I know what the wash sale rules are, and I get it, and I could probably give you a decent answer. But at the end of the day, we're not here to give you tax advice. We're here to observe the markets, tell you what our trades are and what we're looking to do, what we observe in the overall market. That said, I think it's very important to know the rules, because obviously if you're, the idea being you have a window under which if you sell a security for a tax loss and then you buy it back too soon, let's just say, then you don't get that write-off. The rules are going to be different everywhere. But I think it was a great answer to say, make sure you're getting tax advice from a professional, at least someone that's in your jurisdiction.
Exactly.
Let's go back.
Before we do, 4 1/3 here on Robinhood, climbing up to $91. We're getting really close to that mark there, guys. All right, let's send it back. Let's see what Adara, and let's talk some Tesla.
We talk Tesla. President Trump posted about this Iran situation on Truth Social, saying, and I quote in all caps, Iran has just announced that the Strait of Iran is fully open and ready for full passage. Thank you. I'm guessing he's meaning the Strait of Hormuz, but either way, guys, he's already very active on Truth Social. Something to be aware of as the market opens. Also worth being aware of Tesla, which has had a crazy week. Lots of TERAFAB headlines this whole week, including today.
Yeah, Darren, this time it's around hiring. So Tesla's ramping up its hiring for Taiwanese employees. I wonder why. Good expertise by them. For their TERAFAB AI semiconductor, they're targeting specifically engineers with 5+ years of experience in advanced chip making, especially that sub 7 nanometer, sub 3 nanometer. Musk previously outlined TERAFAB is key for Tesla anyway in scaling AI training clusters as well as their data center infrastructure that they plan to build out. The roles here specifically are focusing on lithography, packaging, and yield engineering, so kind of giving you that full stack of AI chip fab process. It indicates Tesla is aiming to compete with your big boys, like your Taiwan semis, your Nvidias, your AMDs, especially in high performance AI compute. And there's a whole heavy overlap with Taiwan semi here. So feels like it gives them shades that they could be competitors at one point, especially if they have excess yield. Tesla's positioning itself, as we know, kind of closer to Nvidia with that vertical stack where they control both the hardware and the software. And Adara, the hiring here push suggests that this is an early stage build out, given that they're hiring now. So analysts are gauging that this could be a 2 to 3 year timeline for the fabrication ramp.
Yeah, I believe last time I was on the TERAFAB website a couple days ago, they actually had like a hiring link right there. So definitely actively looking to get more people involved. Companies that are already confirmed include Intel, of course, Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, and we know SMCI has claimed to be involved. They're also reportedly contacting AMAT and LRCX. So guys, more hiring. Do you think TERAFAB is something that's going to matter right now today?
Well, it's hard to say that any catalyst matters more than what we've just gotten out of Iran. Like USO just hit 112 and is breaking lower. So obviously we have a new sheriff in town and it's back to being geopolitical headlines and the Strait being open and Tesla hopefully 400. The wall right now looks like the 200 on the daily, 200 SMA on the daily. So if you're seeing it make a fresh high, it's just a failure of 400. What's crazy about this, I even said this yesterday and I was looking at it this morning, without this news, the plan was for me to look for a false break of 400. And if it fails, like if it breaks 400 and then traps, look for the reversal pattern based on what I saw yesterday. I don't know how much I like that anymore with this headline. I gotta be real with you. Like now it looks far more constructive for like a 3. Let it do that, but I think we're bullish enough that maybe I should just be looking for anything back into 390.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to, like when you write your note, when you sit down, you're prepping for the day, like I don't know that headline's gonna come, but now that it has, I don't really like that setup as much anymore. Maybe it traps and I'll end up wrong, but I kind of like that 390 we had the resistance in yesterday. So I'll be looking for a shot at that on a bounce because I'm like IBIT's gone, Robinhood is gonzo at this point. You know, like Nvidia's already through $200 and it sort of did that on this headline. You got to be able to shift, right? Like,
I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, we were talking about this a couple of days ago. I mean, that might be priced in. We have this deal with the Strait. I think that's the real key driver right now. But it's just accumulation of essentially tailwinds going on in the overall market. Like, we're talking about Robinhood. There's something behind it. You have Tesla and the TERAFAB. I mean, you have the PDT rule as well. So there's just so many things going in favor for the market right now that's why we're starting to see somewhat of a slingshot move to the top side this pre-market. And I think that's gonna be the case for the next little bit, especially leading into earnings. Unfortunately, that wasn't for Netflix. But I mean, it's not participating, which I find a little bit odd. Wait until the open, but you would want to see that. Maybe we start to see a little bit of that being priced out coming into earnings. But I think with Tesla, it's going to be a CapEx spend leading into the report next week. And I think that's going to be a big teller of where we can continue. We know that the EV sales aren't going to be what we're expecting. So we'll keep that in mind and we'll continuously monitor things. I think with the NASDAQ and the SPY, you want to wait for a pullback. But VWAP is tracing price really relatively well. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bounce off of that level. And if we're fortunate enough to even get there. So, I mean,
true.
There's I mean, a lot going on. I was talking about rallies once again. I'll say it again. I was talking about rallies in the pre-market. This is I don't even know what to call this. Essentially, it's just not really.
Still a rally.
It's still, but it's significantly stronger than what you would typically look for. So.
One of those.
Just one of those, man. All right, look, there's Robinhood 91. Now you're up 5% here on the day. Bitcoin up 2% in the pre-market as well too. Let's send it back to the desk.
You had the green infographic there with all of the stacking up. It sounds like Apple's actually stacking up quite well here. We know their global smartphone shipments are doing quite well, but even China apparently stand out.
Yeah, Dara, 20% year over year in Q1 is Apple's iPhone sale growth in China. That completely bucks the trend because smartphone sales in China as a group fell 4% year over year on the quarter. So a huge outperformance there. Broader China smartphone market being pressured by, as we've mentioned many times, the rising price of memory chips, as well as some supply chain disruptions with the geopolitics. A lot of the gases that are used in chip making come from the Middle East, and there's been a bottleneck there. That's what we mean. Most vendors raising prices to protect their margins. Apple and Huawei are the only major players that are showing growth this quarter. Huawei does remain the #1 selling phone in China with 20% market share, but Apple is quite close behind with 19%. So good look there. Just to give you an idea of the demand weakness, let's talk about this, Adair. Xiaomi shipments collapsed 35% year over year on the quarters. Oppo down 5%, Honor down 3%. Vivo did see some growth, but barely 2%. So bucking the trend.
It'll be interesting to see if this is just an iPhone 17 thing or if this is something they can continue to do with their other models. Regardless, guys, AAPL beyond, of course, the market being up with this Iran news. How do you feel about this stock going into the day?
I hate to say it, I think that it's a good house, and I like the fact that they're strong. I recently bought Apple specifically because of that one day they had the story about the production issues with the Fold, but it's not moving it's not making the secondary move with the market, yeah. And there's nothing you can do that will unwind that fact because we just pressed another couple of highs here, and Apple, it's really just slowing. It's not doing a ton of volume. We go right into where we dropped from yesterday, and we have a lot of sideways action. So if you're looking bullish today, I think Apple is looking like a pass. No breakout. Feel like if you were going to break out, you would have done it already. I suppose you could look at some of the prior close. Is this the kind of news or day where Apple would turn red? So maybe you look for a dip buy. But I'm going to stay away. I'd much rather look at a strong chip name that did break out, that has a trend, like an Intel or like IBIT for some longs or short energy. But Apple feels like a stay away. All of that being said, I still feel pretty good about this longer term. We just regained the 50-period moving average. We're still in a very nice, gentle uptrend heading back into the highs. Fundamentally looks good. Maybe it's not as cheap as you would like, but who cares when the market's at the highs? We don't care as much about valuation sometimes. It just today doesn't seem like it wants to participate as much.
Yeah, and I think that's the narrative. Someone said something in the chat. We typically look at this as kind of like a flight to safety name. I agree in some extent to that for sure. I mean, as for the product pipeline, you got the foldable coming out on time. You have that cheaper version of the MacBook. And I just think at some point you have to take into consideration that the fact that the other Mag 7 names were all hit bear market territory with the exception of Apple. So there was a little bit of a flight to safety aspect there. Is it participating? I don't think it's one of those names that's going to move aggressively in these types of rallies, essentially. So, I mean, you hit that nail on the head, essentially, Fedora, the Explorer. You want to look for things that have been hit a little bit more, like the Robinhoods, the SoFis, the Teslas that have been down 30, 40%. And then that's where you kind of get that slingshot and that strength. But as for Apple, I like everything that they got going from a flight to safety. They pay a dividend. I mean, you can't really go wrong with this name.
You certainly can't go wrong, I guess, if you were able to get long when we had this move in U.S. oil and the market. Now, obviously, a lot of headlines here have changed since we came in this morning. We know that we were thinking the conflict might come to an end, but as of right now, it sounds like we do have, well, not a full deal or resolution, some good progress.
Yeah, Dara, I don't really have a lot to add here other than, just keep your eye on the headline. This is really what it's really driven by. It's more of a minute-by-minute thing, so anything that I'm really going to articulate here could be completely irrelevant in 15 minutes. But President Trump did signal that the war should be ending soon. He also announced a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon yesterday.
I also want to talk here about this post. This is the reason that we had that drop here in oil, the pop in the market. And yes, we do have Sayed Abbas Araghchi. This is the foreign minister of Iran. He has an X account. So does Ghalibaf, the parliamentary speaker of Iran. They do post, so just be aware of this. But either way, this was the post he shared saying that in line with that Lebanon ceasefire, which started yesterday at 5 p.m., they're going to be allowing commercial vessels to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump praised the decision, though he did refer to the Strait of Hormuz as the Strait of Iran. So interesting stuff here. We also heard some reports that CENTCOM is still turning away vessels. So if I get more details on that, I'll let you know. But either way, headline by headline basis, for now, how do we like USO?
Well, it's like, look at it. It's absolutely gonzo. You'll see that I'm in boil, and I'll show you what I'm sort of looking at. Like, you don't have any levels to work off for USO. So I like it as if we're moving, then I just want to trade something which has a structure, and it's not like oil is going to be natural gas. And sometimes we'll move with oil, but I like the fact that it can have a little bit of a lag, and that when you're trend down here, oil, and I'm only doing this because it's something that has worked, it has very distinct price areas, right? So like 13.4 here, support to resistance, a good 12.9 and 13 bottom. I kind of drew the structure for you. So when we bounced shy of the 13.4, short the pop, play to the low. And until USO does something distinctly different, that's the way I want to look at it. There's only one oil name that I'm thinking buy the dip on, and I mentioned if Oxy got to 50, I don't know. I don't think we're getting to 50. I don't think we're getting to $50 today. But if that were to get like really panic overextended to the downside, there was some good buyers in there after their earnings. So I think I could look for that. But I just play the trend on USO. If we break that downward trend and break the volume weighted average price, then I would reevaluate. We might break the trend line because it's so steep. But if we break VWAP, I'll reevaluate. But as long as this is holding underneath volume weighted average price, I'm shorting Boyle into that 13.4, shorting every pop and playing it into the low of the day, rinse, repeat, and you know what.
Absolutely. I mean, since the start of the conflict, guys, like you get like 75% TIA return. I mean, you have a base around that $110 mark. You're gapping down to 114. So, I mean, at the end of the day, things were going to cool off eventually, and you're going to revert back to a mean. So, with that being said, are you going to start to fill the gap? Is the market starting to come back in a little bit? Yeah. Are you getting a little bit of a climb, a recovery, a pullback in USO? Yeah, this is honestly what I want to see. Right, just before the open. So you pull back, you reject the volume weighted average price, you reject some of these pre-market areas at the 121. I mean, that's 7 points from now, roughly. I think there's a higher probability, essentially, of just bouncing off of the volume weighted average price, respectfully, in either direction for the USO and in SPY. So, I mean, let's go with the flow on this one. The straight's open. I think this is risk on at this point. So that's how we're looking at USO. Fade that, fade any pop, and then buy any dip in the NASDAQ. Let's send it back to the desk.
Go with the flow, just like the flow of oil, I guess. And speaking of, I do want to show you guys the CME FedWatch tool, because since we've had this update here with Iran and the U.S. and the Strait of Hormuz, we now are seeing, according to the CME FedWatch tool, we could get a cut as soon as June 2027. Now, obviously, it doesn't sound that soon, but giving that initially, like last week, we were thinking it was going to be September to December of 2027. Starting in June isn't half bad. I'm also seeing apparently certain Fed funds futures pricing in a cut sometime this year. So this could be pretty exciting if we do get a cut, change some of these rate outlooks a little bit here. But in the meantime, final story of the morning. Let's take some time to talk about ORCL, because this stock has had a heck of a week.
5% yesterday, Darren. Not too bad. And speaking of 5, that was the 5th consecutive day of greenery for the name. However, let's not be myopic. It's still 48.4% below its 52-week high of 345.72, which the company reached on the 10th of September. It's outperformed a lot of its peers, to be fair, locally, and the trading volume yesterday was one to certainly keep an eye on. 46.5 million shares traded yesterday. Compare that to the 50-day average of 29 million. So something was up yesterday, Adair.
Do you think this one continues to rally? Do you think it pulls back a little bit? Because as you said, we're still well off highs.
You know what? It's not a name that I have too much information about. I kind of try to keep my eye on the main players. I know Oracle's trying to weasel their way in. Let's look at the technicals, though. I know the boys will do that. Well off the weekly highs, as you can see there, into that 345. I don't even think we're above the 200 moving average on the weekly. We're approaching, boys, that 50 moving average on the weekly, so we could possibly see some resistance there. If we flip to the daily, we are approaching the 200 moving average on the daily, right around 190 a day. You probably get some resistance at 200 too.
Yeah, I think could be some resistance there for sure. Everyone knows my thesis on ORCL, and that thesis is decisively bearish, so not going to get too into that. But again, I think with Oracle, the thing worth remembering, massive RPO, and kind of a harder time converting that into revenue as of the last couple of quarters. We know Q1 and Q2 of 2026, they missed revenue estimates while massively growing their RPO. So guys, we had this massive rally in ORCL. Do the fundamentals as of right now maybe support this being longer term? They're poised to have their best week since 1999.
Partying like it's 1999. Should be old enough to remember when everyone was freaking out about Y2K. Yeah, that was such a big deal that turned out to be. Man, I knew a couple of crazy people back in 1999. People that actually thought the world was going to end.
Yeah, I heard about that, man. I was too young to really...
Legit.
I was 8 at that time.
Yeah, you're youngin'.
Like, I was just outside probably playing. Most likely, that was probably what was going on, most likely.
Well, I mean, most people were like, it's not going to be a big deal. And then there were others who were freaking their... Whatever. It is what it is. That doesn't matter now. Oracle, I can see... It looks a little bit different. It gets back at VWAP already, and the market's extended, and a lot of other stocks are extended further. Then you throw in... It's got the AMD thing going on where... You saw how crazy AMD was yesterday, so like if it pulls back, it'd be nasty. Like it's just, look how far we've come in a short period of time.
Yeah.
You've also effectively on the daily, like you've condensed a little bit, like big move, a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. So I have a trend drawn. I'm probably gonna be still concerned with Now Boyle and USO and Intel and IBIT. But if this loses the trend line, that could be one which trapped people and ends up like a gap fill short type of trade. Just because it's a Friday, throw that in there as well. The top is exactly at 185. Start lining things up, options expiration, how far it's come. This is one that feels like it wants to shake some people out. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm more interested
with Oracle.
Yeah, Oracle. I can just see a bit of a trap forming. I'd rather go and for myself, I'm just going to be looking at Intel and IBIT.
Yeah.
If I'm going to look for buy the dip, or maybe Robinhood, which I loved yesterday, and we'll see how that one does today as well.
I mean, but I'm not really looking at it from an intraday standpoint. I think there's a couple of things that have been swept under the rug in regards. Obviously, these guys have to spend a ridiculous amount of money, but 90% of their remaining performance obligations are to one name. That's going to be OpenAI. But also, I think one thing we have to talk about a little bit is that they're going to be a big player in the TikTok deal, right? The America TikTok. So, I mean, the stock's been getting destroyed. The worry about the margins within it, the CapEx spend, and how everything's going to align. They're laying individuals off. They're selling assets. Things didn't look good. Their guidance was absolutely ridiculous. But, I mean... Are they as bad potentially as we're thinking it? Maybe we're just exaggerating a little bit. Maybe we're taking it too literal. I think Oracle will be okay at the end of the day, considering they TikTok and OpenAI they're involved with, right? So I think that's two good.
And it got cheap too. It definitely got cheap.
What was the PE of it at one point?
I have to double check. It's 2 minutes until the open, so I wanted to make sure we at least looked at the imbalances for you guys. It is a Friday. It was nothing too crazy, but Nvidia is a sell of 1.6 million. You got Apple, sell 900,000 shares. Hey, Beyond Meat almost got to $1. It's at 91 cents, 400,000. Who cares? Oracle, 375,000. Maybe somebody cares about Beyond Meat, and apologies to you. XOM, 780,000 to the sell side. Nothing. It's really just Nvidia that stands out. SMR there, but that's a pretty small imbalance as well. Let's go back up to Adara, 90 seconds till the open.
Just be aware here, guys, with regards to oil, you can see this headline on the screen. Apparently, the U.S. naval blockade will remain in full effect as it pertains to Iran only, even as Iran says they're going to be reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Looks like President Trump also, as far as I can tell, reissued his Truth Social post to correct Strait of Iran to Strait of Hormuz. Either way here, guys, naval blockade still happening only for Iran, as Iran announces that Strait of Hormuz is going to be open for passage, at least as we have this 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel going on.
Thank you, Adair. And you're actually seeing a decent bounce here pullback in the markets, but decent bounce here in USO as it tries to come into the volume-weighted average price. Until, if we lose VWAP on the futures, I'll change the thesis, but I think short energy is still going to be a bit of a thing. Those samosas were good, but I'm going to go for VWAP for a re-entry there. Intel lost VWAP, so it's underneath that 69. It also happens to be 69, underneath that 69 level. So it needs to hold on to the prior close. If you go red off the open, remember the pattern on Intel has been the long snapback is if it can hold support and immediately regain the pre-market low. If it starts closing bars underneath the pre-market low, then that trap has been set precipitously. And then IBIT rejected, or Bitcoin rejected 77,000 just there. It's dipping, but above VWAP. So that's still set up for higher lows, lower highs. The market wants to be good today. As we ring the bell for the file time this week, reminder, we're working on a huge record, almost record. Well, yeah, new record, all-time highs, 12 days in a row for the NASDAQ, which is the best since 2009, I think it was. Crazy. 2009. It's the longest winning streak in the NASDAQ since 2009.
Well, we'll take it, man. I mean, I was talking about once this conflict, considering how some of the names were holding up, once this conflict started to come to somewhat of a conclusion, then it's all right, let's rally. What is the reason not to? I think a lot of it has to do with the hyperscalers, the CapEx spend, the fundamentals are there for the majority of the names. So why not just rally? Oversold, Robinhood down 50% plus off of its highs. The SoFi's down. Wow, Bitcoin's been down substantially. The market is selling right now, guys. I mean, Tesla starting to sell a little bit here. We have the NASDAQ bouncing right at the Qs. The SPY were south of the Qs as well. Hood's holding up, and then IBIT doing us some favors, holding up relatively strong. So I think it's just be a little bit more patient on this one. Wait for things to turn around. How do we react? Are we going to start to step back in? Are buyers looking to get involved, or is it more or less going to be a profit taking from all this pre-market price action that we've been seeing? And also keep an eye on USO. Don't get analysis paralysis and have too many things going on at once. Focus on what you have and see if you can find some high quality opportunities within that.
That's what it's always about. And speaking of those, yeah, AMD did absolutely pop and fail that 280 level. Went right up to 281, broke through the 279, and then right down to 275. So if it closes lower, gonna look for the refill there. I'm also gonna reload Boyle. I just saw USO starting to turn over, heading right back into the downside. So I don't think we're gonna might not see VWAP. So I'll short the pop that I can get, and not necessarily the one that you want. Bitcoin is now pulled back into the volume-weighted average. IBIT is pulled back into the volume-weighted average price. I know I should say that correctly. Not going to stand on the falling knife. It has to show me a hold, or I'm waiting for a better low to engage with. But yeah, Bitcoin pulling back in here. I already showed you guys AMD pulling back. You had Netflix going in the other direction, though. Netflix went upside off the open.
Yeah, like you, Neil, I actually took it off my list.
Right?
Yeah, and I decided to focus a little bit more on Robinhood. The volatility is going to be in on Netflix, right? So we had an earnings report. We were talking about the implied volatility sitting around 176%. So you're going to see a little bit more of a fluctuation. Now, day by day, that will start to cool down. But I think there's going to be some other good opportunities here. The earnings report, if it decides that it wants to rock and roll, we can always switch things up, but we don't want to bounce around too much. You might get a gap fill, right? Considering you close right around that 107.89, you're starting to climb back up to 97. Pre-market, you have a high of around 98.18. So, I mean, keep an eye out on it and see what we can potentially find here in Netflix. It's a strong 5-minute print.
Well, that was fast.
You're in and out on...
No, I didn't even get Intel through VWAP. Pick me up. So you can kind of see what happened to Intel there. There's the hold the pre-market low and snap back to the upside nonsense. Usually you want it on the way up where you would have already made 50 cents, but I just sort of left the order through the volume weighted average price, and now it wants to pick me back up. Look, I'm going to give it to like the actual opening bar. Feel like we're still a little bit early. The only other thing I have was the reload in Boyle. And I said if this wicked the bottom, I wanted to be long on Intel, but I want to see it closing above the volume weighted average price. You also have I also want to be short AMD, which is so crazy. That looks like an A setup for a short on AMD. And here I am buying the dip on a different chip name. Sometimes you get the story in your head, straight opened up, let's go bullish, and then you start sitting there not reading the chart. And the chart is telling me I should be short AMD, and a lot of times maybe that's also short Intel. But for now, again, give it to the pre-market low, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, there goes
short AMD.
Yeah, there goes Robinhood right back towards the top end of the range. I mean, you pull back, it bounces right off of the volume-weighted average price. I was looking for anything south of that. We were going to get involved in that one. Robinhood moving. As soon as I get the green light, I'm tapped into Unity. I just don't hear you. Can you give me a test? Did we get the green light? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, let's hand it over to Adara.
IBIT.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know here, part of why we could have this drop in the market is I'm seeing a lot of commentary from shipping experts and shipping companies saying that this announcement from Iran actually doesn't give us really any information. Wall Street Journal citing shipping experts and shipping analysts saying that there's no clarity provided by Iran's announcement. And furthermore, Hapag-Lloyd, of course, a shipping company, saying that they're actually going to wait until they start shipping here. They're said that they're going to be beginning to assess the new situation, the risks they pose. For the time being, they're still not going to be passing through the Strait of Hormuz. So even though this is opened, sounds like a lot of companies and analysts are saying we're still going to be hands off for now.
Okay, so it's obviously a little bit mixed. The market's seeming to want to bounce off VWAP here. Maybe better than in the market and a little bit better in IBIT than on Intel, where I'm actually looking to add off where the support I'm seeing. But IBIT bounced off the volume-weighted average price, so that's looking like it's trying to hold. I just heard critical metals is still going. So CRML, this is one of the small cappers that was running for everybody. Looks like it did eventually break out the high. So through that $12 level and still holding 27%. This, and I believe it was UCAR. Was it UCAR? No, it wasn't UCAR. It was, whatever. Critical metals is up. I forget the other one that was going. Critical metals was up more anyway. So IBIT going to look for the high of the day. If we get to the top, going to take some out in front of that 77,000, which has been resistance, everybody. And I heard just Apple apparently going ham.
Yeah, Apple's moving higher here as well. I mean, you just hit over 6%, 92.17 on Robinhood. Bitcoin's holding up pretty good as well.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, Randy. And there's Robinhood. I mean, guys, it's strong, right? Like you're getting a bounce back in the SPY. What do we see on the 1 minute time frame here on the TQQs? I'm going to wait a couple more minutes. I mean, we're only 6 minutes into the open. I like what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. You got 43s, Neil. What I was thinking about was around 43.30.
Yeah, it's the quarters I like better. My stop's under 20s.
Okay. Yeah, so
a better price.
That's what I was thinking too, right? Like 43.30, and then have like a 15 or a 17 stop. So that's what I like on Bitcoin. It could be just totally strong and decide that it wants to go parabolic here once again and break through the pre-market highs. But I'll be patient and wait for that. But I like what Neil and I are both thinking over here on Bitcoin. Is just remain bullish on it. I think one thing I want to point out here is also that I don't want it to close this way. Why does it do that? So hopefully this doesn't close as a lower high. All right, so we want to eventually make that push higher. As long as we don't breach the 22s mark, I think that we can continue to climb. And look at the tape. The tape is pretty strong here as well, too, brother. So you got 43. That's a nice price. I like what we're seeing on the 5 minute as well, too, an indecision print right at the volume-weighted average price on volume. So there's a substantial amount, obviously, with that 5 minute opening auction. There's going to be some good opportunities. We're just going to be patient and let them fall into our lap.
Well, the other thing to consider is that you do have, even after that little bit of a spike, after that clarification, you still have USO heading right back into the low.
That's good.
Yeah, like that should, in theory, be good for the overall market. Just to some names that I know people are going to be interested in, Nvidia is just back and forth and no decision off of the 200 level. Remember, 200 was a hard top for a couple of days in a row, and all you've done in the first few minutes is rinse back and forth off that level over and over again. So it doesn't really seem like this wants to pick a direction. This is so choppy. it's incredibly choppy off of the open. Like lots of, yeah, thank you, Randy. And even AMD, which I was like, that looks like a A+ short setup, it's right back and holding the volume weighted average price itself. I am still playing the fade in Boyle as an energy name. Basically short every single pop underneath the volume weighted average price. When I see a topping tail, I just reload and then look for the low of the day.
There you go, some more.
And then get my refill.
Oh.
I don't have the I'm reloaded button, which is what I would use.
Yeah, right. Neither do I, man. I don't have any.
You don't have your Stream Deck still?
No, brother.
Come on, son.
I know. I got to get all the things. I think I have to switch everything over, so I'd have to send all the codes over. Give a brother a break, my boy. I know. Aside from that, I'm looking at Tesla for a potential VWAP break. We're breaking down a little bit, but if this pullback is shallow, then maybe we can get a little bit of a run. But 43.30s right at VWAP is where I'm like an IBIT. Tesla for the volume-weighted average price break via TSLL. If we pick up, but I'm kind of getting curl over vibes, so we'll give it this attempt, right? It's like 10 cents, 45, you're out at 35s. If it does, you can get a little bit better of a price, but I want to see the volume really start to uptick, and we just push through with a little bit of momentum. So that's my game plan on a couple of these names. We're failing to establish a new high here on Bitcoin, so we can maybe draw somewhat of a trend on this one, right there. From 43.69 to 43.39, starting to move down a little bit. But where's that base around 43.13s? There it goes. Neil, if we sit on the backside of this, it might be off to the races here on IBIT, this little secondary trend that we're pointing out here.
Yeah, it's holding on for now, but we're also not really going anywhere. Keep in mind, with the NASDAQ is, we just pulled back 100 points off of the open, and you're trying to base out here. So we're still in. It's Friday. It's options expiration. We're only 10 minutes in. We haven't seen any 15-minute candles, so we might just be in a scalp zone more than anything else, and then just got to watch out for it. Now, I just saw Scott just mention we're missing the cruise liners.
Yeah.
So you're going to have WEEKDAY CCL,
wow.
8.5%. I'm sure the airlines are doing well as well. Maybe not as well, but that's a lot of wells. 6.7 to the upside. I think there's like 3, 4, actually 5 airlines reporting next week. So I'm imagining Delta, UAL, AAL, all doing pretty well, and they're gonna like this move, even if it's like a little bit premature to call it over. It's still a positive headline, sending you in the right direction, which I think takes some of the strain off of the airlines and the cruise lines. So yeah, congratulations if you caught those off the open. IBIT's trying to go, but it's not doing a very good job of it. I saw a lot of people mentioning silver this morning, and apologies for not actually getting to any of the metals today, but they are also higher. You have silver and gold higher. You're also going to have a lot of the rare earth metals names going higher as well. Adara?
Yeah, off the top of my head, you're going to be getting ALK on Monday after the bell. You're going to be getting UAL, I believe, Wednesday after the bell. Then Thursday morning, you're going to be getting our friend AAL, and then I think also LUV Wednesday after the bell. UAL is either Tuesday or Wednesday, but either way, so at least 4 airlines off the top of my head. Keep an eye here on some of these fertilizer plays like MOS and CF. Not a ton of volume on these, just under 1 million shares traded each, but these are apparently trading lower after the Iran announcement of the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. So again, MOS, CF, fertilizer plays to the downside here. Back to you.
Okay, all right, yeah, we're going to take a little bit of a long here. I mean, if it breaks this lower end, then we'll just get out of the dodge. So it's 10 cents worth of risk on this trade. If not, we can break through, but it's not looking too good. The bid's starting to drop a little bit. It would have been more ideal to post up at 39s and then just give it about 5 cents. But nice strong push up there, nice strong uptick. Let's go. This is what we want to see. There goes Bitcoin, Neil, breaking through. We broke through that trend, and then now off to the races we go. The market's starting to find a little bit of a rebound, and let's rock and roll here on. I can't even hit my Stream Deck. I can't hit anything, man. I feel empty-handed. Hit the bang or something for me, brother. Let's see if we can get this party.
Someone wanted that yesterday.
In TSLL.
And we just hit the high of the day in, I thought we hit 77,000. Correction. We've just hit 76.9. I was going to say we broke 77,000. That is untrue. So you know what? I just took some out in front. I might take another leg out, realizing that we're underneath. Because remember, like these tops, the prices on IBIT realistically don't mean anything. Like you get to a level like 77, it's a big round number. Sometimes you get a bit of a rejection. So I'm going to take one more leg out there, try to hold a little bit more. Intel, though, like the market bounced decently. This is just like it got again, gets to VWAP, like I can see where it's holding the bid under the 3/4 mark, but it's not really extending through. I don't like that. I don't like that. So I'm going to take another leg out underneath the volume weighted average price. Don't like that turn whatsoever on Intel. And when I was mentioning that AMD was like an A+, you have to understand what I was trying to get at was the fail of this break, where you just short it back through the low. That was an instantaneous $5 winner. It's essentially the snapback. Like, I'm one of those, like, in and out, like, boom. Like, ideally, I think I would have wanted it to there, but believe me, if the market decides to rebound, that's not something that's an automatic continuation. I'd look for continuation because it does continuation on a 15-minute. And on a 15-minute, we haven't even had a second candle yet. On the short time frame where it's a quick scalp trade, yeah, absolute A+. But on the higher time frame, it's told you nothing yet. Yet is the key portion. So I might have been right to take a little bit more out of IBIT there, because we are still holding underneath 77K. Yeah. Nvidia, I think this is going to be a big one. If Nvidia can close this and hold the 200 level, that's great psychologically. Amazon, we know that's been pretty strong. Amazon, Google have been pretty strong lately. It's like they're trying to go, but nothing's really blowing out that I'm seeing. So we're catching a bid. It's just not strong enough.
I think at this point, Neil, to be honest with you, I think IBIT's going to break past that pre-market high.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's a green light to go on here on Bitcoin. As for Tesla, we hit the 1-to-1, but I'm holding this thing, man. Selling aggressively here. We're gonna have to be extremely patient. Let's see. I mean, we're risking 10 cents. We hit a little bit more than a 1-to-1. How come I can't hear you there? I hear. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's send it off to Adara. We're back at that high. We're printing 1356s now, a 1.3-to-1 on TSLL. Let's see if we can hold that for the pre-market high.
Yeah, continuing to see more comments here related to the Strait of Hormuz. Now we've got the Norwegian Ship Owners Association saying that they are still wanting to proceed with caution with regards to the Strait of Hormuz reopening, following similar comments from Hapag-Lloyd. But USO also on watch here. We've got an Iranian military official going on state TV and saying that yes, the straits reopened, but no, military vessels still cannot cross through the Strait of Hormuz. So this reopening does appear to have a couple strings attached at the very least. Back to you.
Cross it.
Ooh.
You know that one? You're Jamaican, you know that.
Bro, come on.
Nobody can cross it. It's only who can understand it.
There we go, Neil.
Anyways, you're not leaving us to watch it, but if you get some time over the weekend, just look up Nobody Can Cross It. And I forget
when the thing was flooded, right?
Yeah, it was. I forget where it was in Jamaica, but anyways.
It's
mad jokes.
It's funny. I think Adara might have made a Lord of the Rings reference there. I'm not too sure. So my dad's there right now, right? He's in
the movie.
No. Yeah, he's in the Lord of the Rings movie. Yeah. So he's living his best life over at the house. There, so it's done. Neil, I'm telling you, you know what it's like in the Caribbean. So when I would go there, like at one point, it was just half a house with a couple of rooms.
Whoa.
Go ahead. What's going on?
It's a little bit of a liquidity event here that just happened. I don't know. Sometimes you just see. Sometimes you just see the tape. So quickly, I just took a leg out on IBIT because we got to 77 again, and then there was just a huge liquidity vacuum that opened up. So I'm gonna, take a little bit out, hold on to the last 10%, and see if it holds on to VWAP there. Same. But yeah, there was just a bit of a turn. You're gonna see USO bouncing. You know what? Yeah. USO Amex. It's so annoying sometimes. Got a little bit of a pop there. So at least for now, we're able to bank on that IBIT. But I had to take out Boyle as well. We just popped to the upside. Dare we have a headline?
Oil pops, market pulls back at least a little bit as, again, we've got some military personnel from Iran speaking on Iranian state TV right now saying that any ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz will still need, I guess, coordination here with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. So another condition here on the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. First, we were hearing that we're going to need only commercial vessels, no military vessels. Now we're hearing that even the vessels that do pass through still need to coordinate with the Guard. Back to you.
But I'm flattening Intel. That'll end up being a completely flat trade, like slightly up, because I was able to get most of that on the dip. It isn't right. You know what I mean? Like, A, you had that reversal that just happened, which sent USO higher. B, you had this unable to break view up. This will show up as purple because I had an offer out when I hit it, so it's going to code as a short, but I'm not short Intel. But then you got lower highs going in there. It doesn't smell right. If I like the long, let it get above VWAP, let it break the trend. At least with IBIT, like if IBIT wants to hold the trend up, then I can continue to work with that. Like, stick with the thing that's working. Letting U.S. growth will hit 6% under Trump. Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with 6%. 6% will work. Oh no, say it ain't so. I, for one, am shocked. Allbirds is halted to the downside? No. But I thought it was complete. The pivot, going from a shoe company to AI infrastructure just seemed like such an obvious thing when you get $50 million that there's no way that this could go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there it goes, the market rebounding, absorbing that. I mean, we were rocking and rolling. I took some more out. As soon as Neil's like, uh-oh, I'm looking at the 1 minute time frame. We can see at 396.76 on Tesla, there's an indecision print, and I'm like, all right, inverted hammer just below the pre-market highs. I have to take more off, but Bitcoin's rebounding pretty strong. This might be a good opportunity for a potential long here on the TQQQs, considering, okay, I like that a lot. I like it a lot. Over here, a nice rebound, indecision print on VWAP here. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. Maybe we're going to absorb all of this noise. We got the exact same thing going on Robinhood. And at some point I said, Neil, yeah, we're going to break the pre-market high on Bitcoin. There it goes.
There it goes.
Yeah, there it goes. You're still in it, I mean.
Yeah,
so
but I took that.
You took some off? That's all right.
Well,
that's all right.
There was that, I got down to 10% because of that wick right here.
I was only holding 20% by the time I got stopped out. I would have liked to leave it as a runner, but that's not the case. I think we're gonna find a little bit of a bounce, guys. I mean, we're holding volume weighted average price relatively well. The SPY has a nice indecision print right at VWAP. This is a good signal, especially if we break this. So the straight is open. There's obviously some strings attached, as Adara was talking about not too long ago. But what I'm seeing right now is there's a lot of buying pressure. No reason for us to not re-engage. Be careful, because the volatility is back in. You're starting to see the fluctuation with regards to this oil and this stuff, and I get it, it gets annoying and tiresome, including myself. It's just like, all right, cool. It's better when there's a little bit less catalyst and ongoing tweet this, tweet that, truth this, truth that. I just want some nice, clean price action. Be careful for a couple more back and forths here today, this Friday, especially regarding this matter.
Friday?
Friday then.
Well, I was thinking it's Friday, you ain't got no job, you ain't got no money.
Oh.
And I can't say the rest of that because we don't want to get you-know-whatted on YouTube. You can say that. I can say that, can't? Whatever, I'm not going to. I can. It's Friday, you ain't got no job, you ain't got no money, you ain't got ish to do. Fabian's like, you can say it. I'm like, Fabian, I don't think Fabian realized that it was a curse. Of course, I get out flat on Intel, and now it wants to break the trend. All right, I guess I'm rejoining the trade above VWAP if it can hold the break. I want to look for the next place to buy IBIT, but it is worth, sort of looking at where I think we can extend to. On the daily chart, ever, so far that you take the, I don't even say forever on that one. There's nothing really up here at 45, so I always start to think about when you have a move like this, like the measured, and that would be the prior high, and then to where support was before, which was about $1. So when you look at it in the other direction, like that breakout, you start thinking 44, just a little bit above, just doing that little math. Because I like to have a target for a bit of a reversion there. At USO starting to pull back, Nvidia still doing the dance over 200. So it's confirmed. Yeah, we're confirmed over 200 now on Nvidia. I think that's going to be all systems go for the markets. Unbelievable. I want to say unbelievable. I wasn't looking at Nvidia. I was actually looking at AMD. AMD is so incredibly strong. Like that, a rejection like this on a Friday, usually with a trap that big, like the snap down would be so heavy because it would have trapped so many breakout 280 traders. And they're almost back into the money here. So this looks pretty impressive there on AMD. Let us know what you guys are watching. I've seen a lot of names in the chat being thrown around. Remember, please type $ in front of your tickers if you can, so that it shows up on the stock visualizer for us. Because I just saw BBAI in there. Whoops, I just threw the voting one up. Wrong one. There it is. Beyond Meat, the market's up 9%. The NASDAQ's on a 12-day win streak. Nvidia's over $200. Everything is absolutely flying. Bitcoin just broke 77,000. We're talking about Beyond Meat? Okay, it's fine. Nvidia's, I don't know why I care so much. Netflix, EFOI there. I see Tesla, obviously, that makes a heck of a lot of sense. Okay, that's fine. Beyond Meat, at 94 cents. It's up 17%. Congratulations to everyone that believed in this company that will probably go under. Yes. Oh my goodness, I should be short this. That really failed a dollar clean this morning. Well, that's a great setup for a short. At the dollar level when it fails. I used to trade penny stocks back in the day. I don't know if you can tell. But no, yeah, nothing against Beyond Meat. Really, it's just on a day like today, like PayPal's going absolutely ham. Like there's so many things that are strong. Tesla, oh, well, maybe Tesla's not as strong as I thought. Tesla's having trouble with $400. Let's leave it at that. But I am starting to notice we're getting very range bound on USO, like we're not making fresh lows. So as we get to that 44 level, which I said the target's up at that 44, it doesn't matter to me that I'm not long the 43. The structure of the trade was a 43 prior level. So if we fail that top, kind of like how we failed this top in here, I'm going to go for the trail out and then buy the dip on the next available chance, and then see what we can go into next. There's got to be plenty of other opportunities to buy the dip because the NASDAQ is not overwhelmingly flying here. Like we're barely off of these highs. Off of that dip low. My first feeling is if we're not really bouncing and breaking through the top, we still have the chance of losing VWAP. And if we do, I'm expecting a turn. So even if I'm in something strong, we lose that VWAP. I don't want to get trapped in it when I usually take out these highs and then look for the next available dip buy. So far, so good. I'm not really complaining yet, except for the fact that everyone seems to like Beyond Meat. And just because I say I don't like it doesn't mean I'm shorting it, by the way. I think the short already happened through $1. Like you got to, on that trade, now that I'm out of, we just kind of tick the top again here on IBIT. I'm like, okay, that's close enough to the 44. I'll take it and then look for the dip. What I was getting at with Beyond Meat being a short is here. Like in the pre-market, it wicks $1, and then the following candle goes to exactly $1. So you can legit be short 98 with an even dollar stop. That's all. It's just like it's just a trade setup on the dollar level, which gives you a ridiculously tight stop. Shorting it now off of what? Like I'm going to short it and give it 10%? Nah.
Tesla's really starting to
come back. Oh, you're muted. It's all good. It's all good. It happens. I do it at least once a week. It's actually in my contract.
Be muted at least once a week. All right, now we gained a bar there.
Oh, at least once.
At least once. So I mean, there's a support level being broken here on Robinhood. We had that nice long early, just not too long ago. I mean, 9:41. We wait for 10 minutes. Boom, off to the races we go with that volume weighted average price. We break up. I was holding additional 20%. We take some off at a 1.5 to 1. It was only 20% right there, and then we just took a little bit, another 20%, and then another 20 here, and then eventually we just took some more off, considering reducing our complete holding to. There's something else coming in. I mean, Tesla is starting to show some volatility spikes. We're seeing Bitcoin holding, which is a positive sign. Let's see, the NASDAQ is holding the volume weighted average price as well. So there's something going on in the market right now. We had SPY break above that indecision print right at the volume at VWAP as well. So I like this. Let's see if we're going to hold up. If we breach these lows and crack this 89.90 mark, then we'll have to look for another opportunity. But if we start to climb, then I'll have to look to participate one more time in the either Tesla or in Robinhood. So let's be patient. SPY is moving. I'm assuming that XLF is pretty strong here. Let's see.
The SPY's moving much better than the NASDAQ.
Yeah, much better than the NASDAQ. So XLF must be moving. With that being said, we can take another attempt at the break of the volume weighted average price here on Tesla. So I was looking over at NVDA. Apple's climbing higher. What is NVDA doing? It's starting to come back in a little bit here. What's Google been up to? Yeah, Google's sliding, probably helping drag the NAS with it. And Microsoft. as well too is looking like it wants to break through the volume weighted average price to the south side. So be cautious. Look for some signs of strength. Maybe that's going to be Robinhood, Bitcoin. There's no questioning that one. I had that feeling that we were going to breach the high of the day. That has been the case. Let's see if we can continue to participate in some of these other names that have had some pretty positive tailwinds for them.
Absolutely. And just very quickly, someone asked what the next trade was. What I'm looking for is Intel to regain VWAP and break this little slight downtrend. The pre-market high, lower high. Now we have another break incoming, so I'm going to try and grab this one in front of the volume weighted average price. But I see a lot of interest. You don't have to spam everybody. It's fine. Like, you type the symbol 1 or 2 times. We'll get to it. We've been showing a lot of Bitcoin, but really, sometimes you're going to get outsized moves when you look at something like an MSTR. You'll get outsized moves in BMNR relative to ETH. You're getting that right now. So MSTR is absolutely squeezing relative to what's happening over in Bitcoin. I know I've been trading IBIT into the high, but proxy for Bitcoin. Wow, no real obvious levels here on MSTR. I think this is just a short rally. The other thing to keep in mind is there's a lot of hedging. There's a lot of like long Bitcoin, short MSTR hedge trade that happens. And sometimes you wonder if there's like a big news event, you get an unwind of things like that. Like, if I was unwinding that and thinking it was risk on, you'd probably want to keep the Bitcoin long and cover the MSTR short. Like, that's the idea, if you think something is materially changed. So I think you could be seeing a little bit of that, so MSTR has a chance to outpace Bitcoin today. Let's go to the desk with Adara. It is already 10 o'clock.
And what a morning it has been, guys. So many headlines, most of which actually occurred from like 8:45 onwards. So definitely make sure to stick with us and start at 8 a.m. for all of the breaking news, even before the market opens. S&P 500 near these highs here, pulling back a little bit pre-market, but then pushing right back here again. 15-minute candle as of right now. The first 2 15-minute candles have been green. We had some commentary coming from Howard Lutnick saying that he actually thinks the U.S. GDP growth will hit 6% under Trump. He said it could happen this year, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, furthermore, the other thing that he commented on was the Strait of Hormuz, and I think we're going to hit a lot more comments on the Strait of Hormuz because we first had the Iranian foreign minister coming out around 8:45 a.m. saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open. Lots of clarification on that since. Apparently, this is only going to be open to commercial vessels, including U.S. commercial vessels, just no military vessels at all from any country. And furthermore, even for these commercial vessels, you are going to have to coordinate with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to get any work done. President Trump shared this post once we actually had the announcement of the passageway being open. He also just shared another post a couple minutes ago saying that the U.S. is going to be getting all of its nuclear dust out from Iran. They said the deal is not subject to to Lebanon, but USA will also be working with Lebanon. They don't want to exchange cash with Iran. So again, another post from Trump. This is his third post in the last 2 hours, so he's been very active today. Netflix on watch here with earnings. Nice bounce here off of these intraday lows. They did beat on EPS and sales. They reaffirmed their fiscal 2026 guidance, but that Q2 guidance, a little bit disappointing. TSLA also in focus, one of many tech names on watch, TSLA, with another TERAFAB announcement. They're going to be doing some hiring for engineers apparently in Taiwan for that TERAFAB. Furthermore, worth noting here, a couple other headlines. We had analyst notes positive for Affirm, with Morgan Stanley making them their top pick. Negative analyst note for Fluence with a downgrade. You had Alethea Capital weighing in here on TSM. So there's just a lot of headlines to talk about. It's not just the conflict in the Middle East, though this conflict is moving the market in a major way. Back to you.
All right, that's the one. Thank you very much, there, Dara. Netflix at the high of the day. Bitcoin got to the high of the day. The Qs are trying, but they're just not doing what the SPY are doing. So you look at the Q, like we're back up to 1% here, and looking at the triple Q is just easier for me to show you the 3-minute and a short time frame chart. And then you look at what's going on in the SPY. Like SPY are at the absolute top. I said the next trade for me was going to be Intel breaking trend off of VWAP. And unless you were trading last night, you don't care about Blue Ocean. So I'll actually look at it on the NASDAQ once I'm done there. So it broke this little bitty trend line down, confirmed here, long VWAP. Don't like the chop mess that it was on the flats in here under the volume weighted average price. So long as it can hold VWAP, going to be reloading, playing for the high of the day. As we said, Bitcoin has been strong, but USO has fallen asleep. Fallen asleep, but still weak. So good. It wicked VWAP and is headed lower. That's what you want to see for the longs. Right? You want continuation, then I want to see, even if it's not going to flush, break fresh lows and all that good stuff, I don't want it breaking back above VWAP. It can bear flag and we will look good as long as there's bear flags. But if it starts breaking back out, you got to reconsider. I would reconsider some of those long trades. I was mentioning Netflix back at the highs, so if you found the dip off 95, I like 94. So, we'll call it a fail. Where is it? It ends up bouncing very nicely here in Netflix, but didn't quite get down as far enough as I would have liked. But you know what? This market's got tons of opportunities, everybody. And when it's this active, this environment creates lots of setups, more momentum, and that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we're calling limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now and get 10% off. Shout out to them.
So frustrating watching trades just that you had planned out go in your favor. I mean, I was thinking, I posted up at 44s. It was trading like right below the volume weighted average price on Robinhood. I'm like, okay, let me post up at 90.44, and then see if we can catch a fill there. Boom, off to the races it goes. Now printing $91. So I mean, that was a missed opportunity. Robinhood strong. There's some indecision prints on the lower time frame here with Tesla, so maybe this one's going to take some time to go, or it might not at all. Let's get involved in some more Tesla. We'll take another attempt at it. We get in at 43s, exactly where we were before, and risk 10 cents. So let's see if we can get that going. The NASDAQ is screaming higher. There's a lot going for the market here today. There's no reason. Let's talk more action, essentially, on some of these trades. I don't like the tape, though, to be honest with you. Look at the tape. It seems relatively weak. SLV is strong. Yeah, I heard.
It's an insane trend up in SLV.
Yeah, SLV is just buy the dip. That was a great time in the land of silver when it was just like literally every dip that you bought on silver ended up working out. It was like,
so
man, it was too easy almost.
Okay, but you know what? Here's the thing. There is one thing about that.
My guy.
When this was over when it was over 100 and you were at the absolute top, I remember literally having a couple of people WhatsApp me, it's like friends from high school, university. Yo, should I be getting into the metals? And when that starts happening, it's
once word hits the street.
Yeah, about that, it's not. That's not the moment. But I think the trend, we talked about this yesterday. Like the trend break and then continuation. Here, we'll do that. Like it's a steady grind, and we're getting an outsized move today, probably because of the headlines. Why are we struggling this top, man? The ES is literally breaking the highs right now. We just hit an all-time high
Tesla's done
on the ES. The NASDAQ is still underneath, so we're getting a little bit of lag in some of tech. So by the way, I'm offering in front of 70 on Intel. Intel is at levels that, I mean, I own shares of the stock, and I'm skeptical of this thing.
Yeah.
Like big time skeptical that it's going to break. So if you look at Intel on like the 3 months, you're going back and you are literally at the high from 2019, and then you're pushing into all-time highs in here. So every chance I get, I'm going to be scalping this one. Like it's a VWAP to the 70 instead of the high of the day. Usually I'm thinking to the high of the day, but this time I'm thinking out in front of the 70 level. And if it breaks away, I don't have to short 70, but for me, I'm getting out of the long in front. Like normal Neil would be looking for a reversion at 70.
Yeah.
So therefore, if I'm long into it, I'm taking it out in front of the 70 level, but I'm not going short. I don't want to fight it, but I do want to make sure we're banking out in front of that. So what a move in the market. I also don't love the fact that we're getting a bit of this lag on the Qs. Like it's still very lagging relative to the ES. It shows me some of the strength is in other places. W Shell says, don't sleep on Bird.
Okay.
Oh, that actually bounced? Hey, look at that. See? What do I know? Halts down, and now it's $1 higher. There's a bull market everywhere, apparently.
There's
even that's not going to fall
We know
apart.
who said that one there, Neil.
Well, it's a bull market somewhere. There's always a bull market somewhere.
There's always
and I
a bull
love that
market
quote
somewhere.
because it's an important one. Oftentimes, people will get wrapped up in, oh, this is looking bad, and when Tesla was in a downtrend, it's like, well, go look at the memory chip names. There's always something which is incredibly strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is not the memory chip name right now.
No, but it's Robinhood though. Robinhood is just going absolutely pair. I like what Bitcoin's displaying. I think this thing's going to continue to climb. I'm posted up here right at the lower end of the range. I was at the top end, no problem. We got somewhat of a buyer right here. So I'm in at 1335s. We're going to double up the size from what we had on both of these positions here to see if we can get this rocking and rolling. If it cracks, then the risk to reward, I'm risking 5 cents on that one. So you can add more shares essentially. And I like what Bitcoin's doing right now. So maybe we avoid what Tesla is if we don't catch this fill and look for some signs of strength. We're getting a pullback in silver, which I'm liking. You can buy a potential dip on that one. The play on Robinhood, Gorv, this is the ideal trade right here. You can see it in Tesla, like a lot of buying pressure on the lower time frames. But essentially, it was just that one-off right at VWAP here on Robinhood. And then within the trend line, you can see that you have all these indecision prints in silver, boom, off to the races you go. So maybe we have to look for something along those lines. Oh, wow, I'm at 36s, and it doesn't give me that fill, Neil? What kind of garbage is that? Oh, my, pretty close, man. It came into 37. I just never got it on the bid, and there it goes off to the races there on Tesla. I want to try to catch the lower end of the range and get as tight of a risk to reward as we possibly can get. But I think at this point, with the NASDAQ climbing higher, we might have to buy up into this strength. So, yeah, there it is. Tesla starting to rock and roll. I'm not going to chase it. We'll wait. If it does decide that it wants to break through the volume-weighted average price, that might be a trade within the potential trade here as well.
I think you had the right entry on Tesla, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, look where the buying is right where the selling was.
Exactly.
I was actually looking at a similar, it was similar earlier when it was doing the same thing, and AMD is not now. AMD is barreling toward that high. So it was a false break, but it's putting in higher lows the whole way through. Like, look at this on AMD. I don't know why I didn't spot this sooner. So you had the dip. We had the random dip in AMD this morning in the pre-market, put in higher lows, then dipped in the open, and it's all bottoming tail wicks under this trend line on AMD. So I'm going to hit save so that when you hit save, then the next time I call up AMD, you'll still see this trend. I think it's a buy on the trend line, but willing to reverse kind of play. Intel, oddly enough, did break 70, got to maybe like 10 cents higher, and is right back into the 70 even. So if that dips again, I'll look for like a continuation of trend if we can get it. Same thing with IBIT. That was the other long. It's still up there on IBIT. We actually haven't had that much of a pullback. VWAP is at 43.50. We're still at 80. So I guess I'm going to be preaching a little bit of patience with this. I'm not taking it up here. I don't want to get trapped up at some of those highs. Not with USO not continuing. So the two names that I like to the long side have kind of covered and are looking for the dip. And I'm going to start hunting for other things. If it happens to be AMD, great. Robinhood's in the middle there. So yeah, let me know what you guys are watching here, because at this point, there's so much to look at. And I know the two that I'm trying to get back into. Netflix is still exactly where it was before, down 9%. Boo on the guidance, man. Boo on that guidance for Netflix. Again, let me know what you guys are watching. There's a new name I haven't seen in the chat. UNH. Look at some other sectors, man. That's a good idea. Only 323? I say only, like that's not good. No, that's actually pretty good.
On UNH?
Yeah, UNH. It's funny because someone asked about this like a while back, and I was like, wake me up when it's above the 200-period moving average. It's above the 200-period moving average on UNH, and it held, and now it's breaking out above the 200-period moving average. Now, here's what I would say is I probably said something along the lines of, I might like the swing trade if it does that, but I put it on in PayPal, so not going to happen.
And people are saying Palantir.
So I went into PayPal over the 50-period, this breakout, so I'm not going to be taking a swing in my personal account. Here we day trade. I won't be doing it at UNH because I did it in PayPal.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, we're still holding up, but then this turnaround can keep you a little bit cautious on what can potentially happen. Bitcoin, 3-minute, you have an inverted hammer candle. And who was it in the chat had some kind words for you and I there, Neil. We're going to a new life life or sale. All right, thank you very much for those kind words. You're long Palantir off of VWAP, says Gorev. Yeah, let's take a look. I heard Palantir is really on the move. I mean, nothing wrong with that. It's choppy here, though, man. You know, like it is forming a bull flag, but look at this chop here. This would just, I don't love that whatsoever. A lot of overlapping candles, but it's working, right? And it's a bull flag. This can just absolutely go parabolic, especially if the market decides that it wants to continue to climb.
I'm gonna throw this up from Darius.
You got what?
I gotta throw this up from Darius.
Throw it up from Darius.
Because it's a comment, not a question. It astonished me that professionals see this price action on a Friday morning after so many green days and are going long. Everyone has to have their own time frame. It's options expiration. It's a Friday. Could this be a trap? It is 33 minutes into the open. If you're a day trader, then okay, fine. I'll take something like trend down into Intel, hold the low, and then trend it up. And the same thing with IBIT. That's a trade. If we lose, if I go to the higher time frame on the 15-minute, what does this now look like on a 15-minute? Okay, we could have a false break of the high, and then maybe we lose VWAP, and then I could be short this in the afternoon. Yeah. If you're a swing trader, you could be looking this as an opportunity for a temporary top after 12 days up on the NASDAQ. There's so many ways in which you can analyze it that are all fine and can all be right in their own way, and we're just looking at this is just what we're doing. It's a day trade. So what I do for 15 minutes on Intel doesn't mean I think we're bullish for the rest of the day, which I don't think it's a perfectly fair observation. Could this be a trap? Absolutely it could be a trap. Would I want to be holding over the weekend on a swing trade long at these highs? Probably not. I'd rather, as I said, be looking to swing into something which is like lagging and trying to catch up, as opposed to something which is at the high. But for the day trade, when the trend is on and you can find it, that's what I'm going to do. Classic pull into VWAP and rip. Intel, classic, hold the pre-market low and then hold the VWAP into the high. Yeah. It's just you're looking for trade setups at the end of the day, and if it works for you, great. And if you're shorting over the weekend because you think we made a temporary top, I wish you all the luck in the world. And I always want everyone to print. I never want anyone losing money. It's not fun. Well, actually, the only time that it's kind of fun is when it's like those, like the short seller report guys. I get like a little bit of like one of those. Yeah. Anyways, let's go to Adara. I don't hate them. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
Anyways, Adara.
We're getting what's going to be our fourth Truth Social post in the last, 2.5 hours, just be where he's incredibly active. He said that now that the Strait of Hormuz situation is over, in his words, I received a call from NATO asking if we would need some help. I told them to stay away unless they just want to load up their ships with oil. So Trump talking about the Strait of Hormuz. Furthermore, be aware, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, he is speaking as well, and he's saying that Israel has not yet finished the job against Hezbollah and that dismantling Hezbollah will not be achieved tomorrow. Now, this is important because President Trump ordered Israel, more or less in this Truth Social post, to stop bombing Iran. Or it's not Iran, I guess also Iran, but Lebanon specifically, right? So they're saying don't go after Lebanon, but we still have Netanyahu saying that the job isn't done, I guess, when it comes to Hezbollah. So be aware, could see some tensions coming back up. I'm continuing to see different international groups saying that they're not really trusting that all is clear when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz just yet.
Wow.
These dips aren't really, the dips aren't dipping.
Shallow, man.
Yeah, so the first thing I said was I'm not chasing any of these highs. I'm not. Like the plan was to wait for the dip. And then you watch it, the FOMO starts to set in. It's like, okay, you're out, and then we're going right back up. We're not coming back there. I'm just looking for something that has, like Robinhood maybe. Robinhood could be something, you know, if I look at the trend from the open, I could be looking at something like this. It'll condense and then break out. Robinhood looks like it could be an opportunity. People are saying Palantir is breaking out because USO is going back down. Like that's really starting to trend back into the low. So I want to hop back into something. Netflix could be a potential breakout, but I don't necessarily love that stock today. And just made another, the ES is about to, almost at another all-time high. And again, the Qs are just lagging. Like we're just slightly lagging here on the Qs with the ES at that top. Silver, as you mentioned, could be one, but if you're looking to buy the dips, like what dips?
I mean, Microsoft is still at VWAP. Nvidia decided to climb a little bit higher. Apple, not too far off of the high of the day. Google moving lower. So it's Microsoft and Google, I think, that's holding up the NASDAQ a little bit. You can see Google coming off the highs here. Really ugly price action. Amazon curl over, and then Tesla breaking trend, but pretty choppy as well this morning too. So, I mean, keep an eye out on some names. If you want to look for strength, there's silver off of that dip buy. You have 15 minutes of selling, it just buys right back up in 5 minutes. So engulfs that. Broadcom, not too far off the highs of 403. So there's a lot of signs of strength. Palantir, I know Gora was talking about this one, consolidated. Lots of buying pressure right here at the volume weighted average price. And then it's just like, okay, see you later. We're strong here today. I'm going to try this on Tesla. We just bounced off of VWAP. I like our risk to reward. Let's see if we're going to continue. I mean, if we're going to be in a buy program style of session, it's just like if you can get in on the dips, you have to try to take advantage of the opportunity of when it comes in, because you might not get that price again. So unfortunately, we didn't get that level that we wanted earlier, which would have been exactly at what was it, approximately 13.34s. It just decides to rip 50 cents above that. So we're in Tesla one more time, just a bit above the volume weighted average price. Heads back into that range, then we just get out of that one, Neil.
Yeah, good look there. And you know what? We're gonna do this. I'm gonna force everyone to have an opinion on this. So I want everyone typing. Again, we always make it really simple here at Trader TV Live. All you gotta do is type a number. I'm pretty sure we can all handle that. Long or short from here on the SPY till Monday morning. This is an audit. I'm not talking about from now to the close. I'm talking about you had to buy, if you had to buy it and you had to hold it till Monday. Okay? So 1 for long, 2 for short. Get your votes in. We'll leave it up until we get into the until like 11 o'clock or close to 11 o'clock. Give you plenty of time. See what the viewers think. Lots of bulls, 60%. I feel like when we make it more challenging, if I said to the end of the day, I feel like people would have more conviction. But given that you'd have to hold it over the weekend, I'm guessing we're going to have a lot of indecision here, and it'll be a little bit more on the 50-50 side. I'm glad people brought up silver here, or SLV, because when I pulled it up, and thank you to our viewers, I can now see a very distinct trend line. Like, there's your spike off the open, first pullback, pullback, pullback. We just bounced off it again, confirming the trend on the 3-minute. So when I see this, I only think of 2 things. Yes, reversion, short the trend break, but also look for that continuation play. Now, every time it's bounced, it hasn't always made it to the high, but I prefer an entry if it has been able to get to the high. And when it hasn't made it to the high, a trend break, I like even a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to be watching. We've got a super chat from son of Daniel. Oh, well, you've changed your name. Let's throw it up there. Spoiler alert: you have a new identity. Son of Daniel Gouda Guru. I'm a Havarti. That's like my go-to in a sandwich. But Gouda's good as well.
Okay.
About a month ago, Trader TV did a poll about what percentage of cash people were holding in their long-term accounts. I suspect a lot of this recent upturn is because so many of us were defensive so long. Go silver. I tend to agree with that. That's why I fall into the, look, man, I end up buying dips sometimes, and it's like it looks terrible, but like when something's out of favor, you just throw the stink bid in if it fills, and sometimes it looks trash for a month or two. But if it's in a long-term account, I understand what I'm trying to accomplish, which is just get the cash back allocated. And sometimes the entry points don't look the best. Meta was too early. Nvidia should have been AMD. I get it. Yeah, I know I said that a bunch of times. It is what it is. Got lucky with Netflix, I think, a little bit there. And Robinhood was probably a little bit early on Robinhood, but you can never get it exactly right, I think. Let's go to Adara. It's time for the small cap recap. We haven't talked too many of those today. Sure.
President Trump continues posting on Truth, just letting you guys know. I don't even know what number Truth this is. It's probably 5 or 6 as of this point. He just posted, Iran is removing all sea mines with the help of the U.S. Thank you, President DJT. So just be aware, he's posting like rapid fire, these really teeny tiny Truth social posts, couple minutes apart. We know sometimes these move the market, so be aware this is occurring. Pretty much all of them have been related to oil in the Middle East. Let's talk here about BZAI, first small cap of the day, and actually one that we featured on our watch list this morning. Blaze trading higher here, $50 million Neo-Tensor AI infrastructure deal sends this one to the upside. This company has a just under 10% short float. ISPC, $5 million market cap. No news today on this one, but this one's one that's rallied frequently in the past, so it is a frequent flyer, as we'll call it. Just under 20 cents per share. Last week announcing that they have reduced their domestic shipment transit times. No other news here for biotech play ISPC. Last but not least, PBM, this one moved a lot higher yesterday, and it was moving on a catalyst. We heard reports that there's going to be this U.S. executive order plans to basically evaluate IBO gains, therapeutic potential. So all of these psychedelic-related companies did spike higher in that. I guess they acknowledged this executive order, reported executive order. So that's why we have PBM back in focus. This stock has a $2.5 million market cap, float of 250,000 shares, short float 20%. So small float, large short percentage, small market cap for PBM. Back to you.
Good stuff. I mean, Bitcoin's definitely been one of the stronger names here. There's a seller, Neil, it's like the exact same scenario that we were experiencing yesterday in Palantir. Yeah, there's a seller somewhere around here on Tesla in that 395 area. It's not looking too good. The market's coming back in. So this will probably be our last attempt on Tesla. If it breaks, like we do have a downtrend, right? So I'm looking for the break of this level. If we can breach through that, the market wants to be strong today and off to the races we go, then so be it. But we also have to take into consideration and factor in the fact that we are actually making consistent lower highs. Right? So, yeah. So that's good. There goes Bitcoin, new high of the day. Silver, new high of the day. So yeah, I mean, some of these other plays are looking pretty good here.
Silver is super strong. So is Bitcoin. One thing that gives me, I don't even like that one.
They can't.
That's better for like bullish. The arrow is kind of blah. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. No, so like, I know I said I was going to go long off, and I did, long off the volume weighted average price on Intel. One thing that would be of mild concern, it seems like it's fine now. Nvidia just lost the bid.
Did it?
So Nvidia just lost trend. Nvidia just lost VWAP. Okay, what's Oracle doing? That's another bellwether kind of stuff. Adara. Okay, A, where were you short on Oracle? Because I'm going to guess that you're short on Oracle.
Very, very, very well played there, Neil. I am short 180.2. Sorry, 181.20s. I added at 180.70s, I think, and we still got 2/3 of this position in, and I am holding until Oracle tells me no more. But I want, I want all of that blood. Shout out to Clay Moochquirk, as President Trump called him. In reality, his name is Clay McGurk, and Mike Cecilia, co-CEOs of ORCL.
You know what I love the most? First of all, that's a great look. Is that Andre on there? I love that. We should do that a little bit more. If a trader has a plan of action, or like a trade setup, or a style of trade, or things that work for them, what should be possible is that you can look at a chart and say, oh my goodness, this person has this, right? Like underneath VWAP, consolidation breakdown here. The ad, I mean, I love the ad. I wouldn't have guessed that, but like it shows you that when you actually have a plan that you can articulate in a trading style that makes sense for you, and when you see a setup, it's like, well, that's that person. It's one thing you pick up on the floor. I'd see it all the time. And then I would go to traders and be like, look, this isn't my style. Why weren't you in this? That's your A+ setup kind of deal. And that's one of the things you talk to traders about all the time. Like, you missed something which is yours. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Well, I would, this is probably not going to be exactly right. But like there's certain traders where I would know they would be, what's wrong with this wick? Where they would be long here on Nvidia. Like you get that bottom tail, like this little consolidation, like that's their jam. And then they're just building a long position here into the high. And Nvidia's really selling off as the NASDAQ pulling. But ES is at the highs. Nvidia is really starting to pull back. It's just a weird one. If we end up losing this lower high on Intel, I might jump out of this trade. It's feeling a little bit more trappish than it was before. The NASDAQ just doesn't want to seem to do what the ES is doing. Some of the tech names aren't nearly as strong as I would have expected. It is what it is. Like, I said I wouldn't chase the top on IBIT, but sometimes the old buy high, sell higher beats like your technical trade-off VWAP. Yeah. IBIT was a buy high, sell higher.
Especially in this, with this buy program, it's just like every dip, it just gets bought right back up. So, I mean, yeah, the NASDAQ choppy, man. It's just right back. As soon as Donald Trump gets the truth in and these guys are going back and forth about oil, I find that this price action, as of late, has been stepping in. It hasn't been as orderly as what we've seen before. Jack, $5 super chat. Congratulations.
I love that little Bitcoin flying around. Nike 46 calls expiring today. Jacka, you made 22K profit selling at 6:30 a.m., 30 minutes after we started. Rebought under 46, just sold for another 5K profit. Your Friday is done. Hit the beach if you're able to do so wherever you're. I have no idea where you are. Maybe you can't hit the beach.
How do you sell them at 8:30 though? I don't know. I didn't know you could do that. If you have any special privileges on options, typically you have to wait.
All I'm going to do is look at the chart.
Okay.
And what I'm going to say is, I didn't think the bottom was in on Nike. I literally had a friend, the same one that asked about silver back in the day. It wasn't back in the day. It was actually just not that long ago. Was saying, is Nike at the bottom? And I remember saying the same thing I said to you guys. Man, I'm looking for a turn in Nike too, but I don't think it's cheap. Bro. I didn't think it was cheap enough.
Okay.
I didn't think it was cheap enough.
You know what, Neil? I'm not in love with the retail space.
I'm not. Yeah, no, I was thinking trade off the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't want to own it.
Exactly.
I don't want to. I've had 2 successful swing trades in the last 2 years on Lululemon, and I was thinking the same thing for Nike. I don't want to own the stock. It was just something I was thinking for a bounce, but I didn't pull the trigger because I thought it could go lower.
For me, it's just not like a long-term investment vehicle. All right, let's go over to Adara.
Yeah, sorry guys, there are way too many ads on Truth Social, even with ad blockers. But I want to go through some of the many posts that President Trump has made. All of these are about Iran and the Middle East. Maybe, make up a segment here called Truth or Dare. I don't know. But either way here, tons of posts. I'll go, I guess, to like the oldest to newest. So we got this at 1 hour ago now, basically saying the Strait of Hormuz is completely open and ready for business. Naval blockade will remain in full force only for Iran. Then about half an hour ago, he says that all of the nuclear dust is going to be taken out of Iran by the U.S. No money will exchange hands. They also said Israel's not going to be bombing Lebanon anymore. Then he said 16 minutes ago, now that the Strait of Hormuz situation is over, he's received a call from NATO. He says all he wants from NATO is them taking oil. Then 13 minutes ago, he thanks Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar for their bravery and help, quote unquote. Then 9 minutes ago, acknowledging for the first time that there were sea mines here in the Strait of Hormuz, saying that Iran, with the U.S.'s help, has removed or is removed all of them. And now, 2 minutes ago, the last post, emphasizing that the deal is not tied to Lebanon, but they still will, in all caps, make Lebanon great again. So I just wanted to give you guys a rundown because he's been posting so much on Truth Social. Like for him, I don't think I've seen this, this velocity of posts in a while from him. So I did want to go over these for you guys. Maybe, new segment, Truth or Dare. I don't know. Either way here, also, yes, so many ads here on Truth Social. I apologize. But if there are any other notable posts, I'll keep you posted. That's the rundown. Back to you.
All right, there we go. We take a little bit of profit off here on TSLL as it's continuing to climb higher here, guys. It's struggling, right? Like, we had a big volume uptick in Robinhood. Ooh, that's an outlying on the 1 minute. Let's see if we can continue to climb, man. 65s would be more ideal. We take off approximately 30% on that position with that out. Let's see if we can print 63s. That'd be more ideal, where we could take some 65s we like even more, but a nice clean uptick. We're printing 62s on the tape. We needed to hit the bid now. There we go. That's exactly what we're looking for there, Neil. We'll take a little bit more. A nice trade. It took a while to get going. I wanted it all the way down there. The risk reward would have been absolutely phenomenal, but that's not the case. We wait for that pullback. We get involved. We were talking about buying the dip. It was Robinhood. You had the IBIT.
You know what we got?
What do we got? Do we have a buy dip?
We haven't hit this one in a while.
Man, you want to know the? All right. Don't pull nothing now. Don't
pull it. Do the bolt. Do this. The Shaba.
Oh, Shaba. Yeah, that's great.
I don't even know why I just went to Shaba. That's
right.
not even. It's the same. It's the same time period as that movie, but obviously ain't no reggae music and White Man Can't Jump. Mr. RJ. Yeah, the answer is yes. RJ42. Do you need to be bald to get hired at Trade TV Live? Look, if you have a full head of hair, you better have the most impressive talent.
Yeah.
To be here, right? Like you got to have like a Dara level talent, Fabian level talent, like Ramin, Sia, Sharif. But otherwise, like if you're like just normal, then yeah, you have to have no hair. Or at least be balding. It's just it's how we roll around. You see myself, you see Sean, you see Joe.
You have to be at the beginning of the process. But Neil, you remember all that time ago I said, hey man, I'm not going out like that. I tried the regrow, but it just wasn't regrowing. It wasn't doing what it was supposed to do.
All I'm saying is this. We got the bald head, we got the bald brotherhood. But you didn't tell me you were shaving today.
I didn't.
So I would have cleaned it up had I known, but someone's not a team player.
Yeah, you know what, man? I was just driving home. As I typically do, I watch some things and I'm like, all right, Ramin says she's next, apparently. Okay. But yeah, she said that. Yeah, we were having that conversation the other night, Dara. No, but in all seriousness,
Ramin,
man, it's just
that's cap. Ramin is not.
So my buddies go, hey Joe, like how many push-ups can you do? And I'm like, all right, right now, like clean. I can clean 50, no problem. They're like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'll make a video and send it to you. So in the process of me making this video and sending it to my boys' group chat, as I'm doing the push-ups, I was just like, you know what, man, I'm just holding on to a thread right now. We got to kind of let go of things. So, and that was it.
Go Robinhood.
Thank you guys all for the nice haircut. Yeah, go Robinhood is
everything.
Go everything, man. It's buy the dip. We got Tesla going right now as well.
Oh my goodness, it's still going.
This is what we're talking about, a nice move. We doubled it up on this position, and it's continuing to climb, looking like it wants to head towards the high of the day. So we're having a fantastic one with Neil and I. It's Friday. We take a little bit more off on TSLL. It's been a pretty good one so far. One wrong, we go 2 for 3. Just sticking to the one name, and I think that's what I was talking about this morning. It's just, hey, I want to hyper focus on 3 names and just get in sync with them, and we're fortunate enough that they worked out for us here.
That's what it's all about. Although, why won't AMD go? That's the question I want to ask everyone. Why is this not participating in the party? It's still rejecting the 79 breakout. It's fighting the trend line. I don't want to be short, but this doesn't look strong. Silver's going absolutely crazy. We got a super chat. We got one from Gregor, it's Georgie. Sorry. I glanced at it and then was like misreading it there. It's Georgie. Appreciate it. That's from Australia. Greetings from Australia. Shoot, where's our Vegemite?
Yeah, you have that thing right there. How old is that?
You don't want to know. We actually had a viewer, I don't remember why, but this was like 5 years ago, anyway, long time ago. Russell Jackson sent us some Vegemite, which we all ate live. And then like last year, despite the fact that it's 5 years old, Obi had an entire spoonful of Vegemite. Vegemite doesn't taste good.
Wait, does it even have
no, it's good for you. It's not.
Does it have an expiration date?
Well,
I don't even know why I'm touching this.
I don't know if it does. I just know that I wouldn't eat it. I would not.
Were you like I know it was your age. Again, I'm not aging you or anything, but like you guys were big on like the spam and stuff, right? Or no?
Look, okay, first of all, when spam was big, everybody was eating spam. Don't believe like you guys were big on spam. Have I eaten spam? Yes.
Well, I just heard.
I didn't even like spam. No, I didn't like spam. My brother likes spam. I didn't like it.
You're getting the exact same reaction from me. Spam.
I thought it was nasty. My brother would eat it, but I didn't.
It's called spam. Like who's eating that stuff? Like it just makes me want to barf.
So I had a roommate when I was living in Mississauga who would cook spam every single day, every single morning. The smell like nauseated me. It was a very open concept house. You couldn't go anywhere without smelling it. It was like literally at least twice a day.
That's great.
It was really rough. I can't. I've never eaten it, and I will never be able to.
Yeah, same. I will never eat that stuff, man.
I just can't get over you said you guys for spam.
Yeah.
When do you think I was born? I'm just saying.
Like 80,
yeah, but
right?
Chat, when was spam invented, please? And was it not like the 60s? Okay, exactly.
So like you would have been in your almost like you'd just be hitting that prime.
Old.
Like in the 60s, you were born in 80, right?
79.
79. So you're
you just gonna out me like that?
No, so
okay.
I gave you.
I was born
in 79.
No, because Adara forgets literally nothing. She knows everything. She forgets nothing. She probably knows like I don't know. She knew the day that I had my Achilles surgery.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that.
The injury.
Or the injury. Yeah. Spam is like, when was it invented? Someone just said 1937. No.
Yeah, I think they were killing that stuff in World War II. To be honest with you.
Oh, it's that old? Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought it was like the 60s. I was way off on that. I didn't know it was that old. But back to the market for a quick little second here, because I'm not convinced about this. Like two things. I'm not convinced about this on AMD. It looks like we're breaking trend. Nvidia is trying to get back above VWAP and looking like it's failing. So for myself here, do I want the reload? Like we got half target. But do I like the reload? If we can show a distinctive bounce on the way back up, I might take this one for a reload, but it's looking like we could be turning around a little bit here, at least just on the chip names that I'm watching. And then you throw out, look at what's happening in Micron, right? Like you got Micron trend down into a double bottom. Meanwhile, load, you got SNDK at the lows of the day. So you've got some serious relative weakness already in the memory names while the market's at the highs. I need to see Nvidia hold this volume weighted average price. We bounce here, I'll do the reload just like I was before. But there's also a part of me that says if we bounce that volume weighted average price and break the highs, I say this all the time when the market's going, market's going down and there's a strong name. Like at some point it's gonna get dragged along with it. I cannot see the NASDAQ and the ES breaking highs and continuing without there being some kind of a pullback here in like Micron or SanDisk. So I see that trend down, and my thought is if we continue market higher, that looks like a trend break into VWAP for me. So I think that's outside of the reloaded VWAP on Intel. The other thing I'm looking at is going to be this Micron potential trend break. It's still weak. I want to see some confirmation somewhere in here, and then bounce into hopefully bounce into like this 462 area. It's super weak on the on the memory name.
There was something crazy that just happened here on Tesla, guys. Look at this volume print that just, big time. And it printed a candle, but it looks like we're gonna breach it. So huge. Yeah, I mean, this one's been a pretty good one here for us. Took us 2 attempts to really get the ball rolling, but now it's just really starting to scream. So a lot going on. I've isolated volume pivot. I'm sitting on approximately, let's go, what would that be, 30? I don't know, 15% of my position roughly, and I mean it's doing pretty good for us, or 20% I should say, after I take this last little bit out, just in case we don't break this high. I posted up at 80s, and then I'm like, wow, what's going on? Because we just had a massive volume spike as the rest of the market is continuing to climb. If it breaches the 1382 mark, the high of that wick, I think we can head into 85s, and I'm gonna look to take some off on it. There it goes. It's gonna print 85s. Let's go over to Adara and see what we got going on with Sector Watch.
First of all, worth mentioning here, I'm seeing a report from the information suggesting that DeepSeek is going to be raising capital for the first time. Their valuation will be at over $10 billion. So again, DeepSeek reportedly raising capital first time ever at a more than $10 billion valuation. That is reported by the information. Let's talk about these sectors now. Obviously, most of these sectors are strong, so we'll start with the strength, and then we'll go to actually what's interesting and what stands out. Electronic tech strong across the board, with GE notably up about 5%. Same with Boeing. So some of these kind of defense and industrial plays doing quite well. Finance to the upside. Robinhood, as mentioned here, up a cool 6%. Coinbase up 6% as well. Retail trade strong. Health tech strong. Producer manufacturing, hard to find a red name in here. Only one is Lumentum. You've got consumer durables to the upside. Consumer services to the upside. Health services. Commercial services, non-energy minerals, so any of these like kind of metal-related plays, transportation looking incredible. In terms of what's a little bit weaker, I mean, utilities to the downside as a group, process industries mostly weak, and industrial services to the downside. But the weakest sector by far is going to be energy minerals, in tandem with the pullback on oil as we get news that the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened for commercial vessels. And I just got another headline I'll get to in a minute on that. We have this weakness here in energy minerals. Now, tech services mostly strong, with the exception of Netflix down on earnings. The reason I laughed there is because we got our, and I am not joking, 12th Truth Social post since 8 a.m. from President Trump. That's right, he has posted roughly 4 posts an hour on average here since the time of 8 a.m. And I'm going to bring this post on the screen so I can show you guys. He just posted less than a minute ago, quote, Iran has agreed to never close the Strait of Hormuz again. It will no longer be used as a weapon against the world. President Donald J. Trump. He also posted a couple minutes ago that today is a great day for the world, all caps. So incredibly active on Truth Social. I think, like I said, 12 posts since 8. I think it's got to be at least 6 within the last hour. Back to you.
Never, ever?
Hey. Never, ever, ever? Oh, my mom used to sing that to me.
Oh, what?
Ever, ever? Yeah, man, come on. Come on, man.
Well, that makes me feel even older. Damn.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm just simply saying, like, when you're sitting next to somebody, you start humming something, you probably don't want them to say, oh, my mom used to sing that to me.
Ever, ever?
Yeah, because I don't feel old enough already, Joe.
Hey, man.
But hey, man.
We'll all get there. We'll all get there, man. No, I didn't even mean it like that, to be honest with you. I'm just saying, I very rarely hear that song. No, come on, man.
You slapped the color into me on that one.
At heart, I am.
See this?
See, I am.
See it? Look. But see how it switches?
Let's see.
Boom, get a tan
damn.
instantly. Instant tan. That's how hard you smack.
Smack you into next week, Neil. Oh, instant tan, yeah. But see, Katina Man, outcast, bro. Yeah, exactly. A good trade here on Tesla. I mean, it's been working. Attempt one, we weighed. It was just unfortunate we get out there. We posted up once again to get it, but now Tesla just being that dog today, it broke out with the rest of the market as it head toward the high. Neil and I were looking at this volume spike. We're like, yo, what the heck? And I'm like, if it breaks that, it could squeeze a little bit more. So, yeah. Let's rock and roll. What does with love to all? Joe Sweet talking about his mom always gives respect. Yeah, my grandma and my mama, love them, man. Yeah, exactly. Joey, I love Joe and Neil combo. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, Katina Man's on a beach soaking up the sun in the beautiful Gulf of Mexico.
He's chilling.
Yeah, he's chilling hard. It's 10:43. I'm going to ask you a question. You can choose whether or not to answer it or not, but you're on vacation, all right? You're enjoying. It's just you and the wife. Aaron's with the grandparents.
Okay.
It's just you two. It's 10:43. How many beverages deep are you by this time?
Me, just probably just one.
Just one?
Yeah. I'd be light. Like I probably had maybe I had like a mimosa with breakfast.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Zero.
No, like it's
barely buttons.
Like maybe one at this time.
Yeah.
Like I'm not much of a. And if I didn't have something like it would only be like a mimosa. Or something.
Yeah, exactly.
If I didn't do that, then I'm not really drinking until
that's
late afternoon. I don't really do alcohol as much anymore.
No. As you get older, zero. A lot of zeros.
Yeah.
Somebody said 10, which is 6 or 8. Says Lolo. 0 says other zinc.
10 seems a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, but you're on vacation. You have to be on vacation. This is where you let loose.
10 seems a little crazy, even if you're on vacation.
But I mean,
I'm not judging anybody.
Zero.
But
Put it in the chat. How many would you be? 2 maybe.
Lot,
3 over here. So I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of zeros coming from Romo. So I mean, a lot of people just don't drink that much anymore. To be honest with you,
I don't
15
drink much.
Says.
Oh, I have to let everybody know. At some point, it got to 70 again. I got out of Intel.
Yeah.
And it's just that was the plan of action. It's VWAP to 70. And I just think 70, I'm not shorting the 70 level. I said this before, I'm not shorting the 70 level. Well, this is the chart I wanted. I just think we're at an obvious, on a Friday, resistance play for them. Micron, we got that trend break. I guess I didn't hit save here. We got that trend break. Kind of went step one, but it hasn't pushed into the volume weighted average price yet. This is a bit different because it's against the grain here. So I'm playing against the grain. Mm-hmm. So take the break, prior bar high, went step one. So the stop goes to just underneath break even at this point. And understanding that this is unlike the other longs today, like Intel strong when we're going long. IBIT, we're at 78,000. Anyway, so that continues to go. But yeah, IBIT strong, Intel trending higher. But when going against the grain, it's a little bit more strict. Oftentimes, if it's a good trade, you'll just leave your stop where it would be. But I tend to move my stop up if it's going to be shallow, because Micron's been relatively weak. But I am shooting for about this 462. I like the confluence of that level in that it's like the 2-day high as well. So you have confluence here showing you that's a good exit target. If you fail VWAP, that probably continues to be a short. So about 10, 15 minutes to go. Come on. Someone just said, come on, AMD, stop making me wait. I don't know what the problem is, AMD. The NASDAQ's at the all-time highs. Mm-hmm. The SPY is at some all-time highs. Yeah. Tesla's over 400. Nvidia is booming. So many things are working. And the strongest stock in all of tech yesterday is going nowhere. Yeah. It's making higher lows, but that's all it's doing. It's holding the higher low bid, but it's not doing anything with the higher low bid. It's kind of like you can take the reservation, but you can't keep the reservation. And that's a reference that you most certainly, Joe, will not understand because you're a hater.
Whoa,
and you don't love Seinfeld, one of the greatest shows of all time.
Okay, yeah.
That's one of my favorite episodes. You could take, you're just taking the reservations. Anybody can take a reservation.
Yo, honestly,
you gotta keep.
I like Kramer. I think Kramer is pretty funny. All right, because he's silly.
Give it a second chance for me.
I can, but I think George and Jerry is not he's the opposite of funny. To be honest with you, I think he tries too hard to be funny. I just don't think anything he has to say is funny. That's just me personally. right? I don't
No, that's fair, man. But it is one of those shows that I find there's somebody that you will, like, whether if you don't like Jerry, you're going to love
Angry Wife
George.
agrees.
You're going to
Angry
love
agrees with
Elaine.
me.
There's somebody for everybody.
So
And I really think you'd love Curb. All right.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Listen, I'm like, there's this show. It's just completely dry humor. Like English humor, I think is the best, and I'm referring to like England. The People Just Do Nothing is one of the funniest shows on the planet, in my opinion. Trailer Park Boys is just that dry stupidness is what I find just absolutely hilarious. And when you're trying so hard to be funny, and I just that's why I never really liked Seinfeld. And I told you about the story of like how it would just always be on in the background at my one buddy's house. You know, you had that one friend who was like, it was like essentially your second home, and they just lived down the street from you, and that's what it was. It was just always on in the background.
My roommate from university.
Yeah.
So again, I think it was for my first 2 years of university, I had the same roommate, and then third year I roomed with a dude on my track team, and he moved in. We went to different. So like Sean went to Laurier and Waterloo's on the same street.
Yeah.
So my roommate, another guy from high school that we knew, went to Laurier as well. So we had a different university. And we lived together. So I went to one school, he went to another, but we were roommates. So he wanted to live with some dudes from his program, and I was gonna start rooming with a track guy.
Yeah.
So he moved in with these 4 other guys from a different university, but I would always hang out at their place.
Yeah.
So much so that they'd leave the door open. They were like, I would just come in. He was like, I need to borrow something. He just left some stuff in his room on his desk. He's like, you just go pick it up.
Yeah.
I walk in, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon on like a Wednesday. I just walk into these dudes' house. They're always watching Star Trek Voyager.
That's crazy.
Every time. And they're just lazing on the couch, 2 or 3 guys. I walk right in, I stand there. I'm watching for 5 minutes. Nobody even turns around. I walk into his room, get what I'm coming for, come back out, watch just stand there. No one even turns around.
Just leave.
I go and say, look, I'm not trying to be that dude, but you just let a brother walk into your house, walk into my boy's room, be around doing whatever for 10 minutes, and none of you check. I'm like, I know it's me, but you didn't know it was me because you didn't even turn around. What the hell is wrong with you guys?
They were dialed in, man.
And you know what's crazy? I'm not making this up. These dudes got broken into a year later.
Oh, really?
Straight up. They got a bunch of their stuff jacked. We're going to get to some super chats. We have 10 minutes to go. Remember I said VWAP was a target, stay on target. I'm a have a target kind of guy. If I see a level, I'm playing to the level. Like you bounce off prior close, you break trend, I'm playing the trend to that level. So if Micron goes more, congratulations to you for holding it. I'm going to take my 4 and run. Let's do super chats up here. We've got Riches83. Well, you might have just told everybody your email address. Thank you very much, Neil and Joe. May I request for a technical analysis on Adobe? You absolutely can, and you will also get it. And, well, you know what? Let me go to the 15-minute on Adobe as well. Wow, what's so joke? Do you see another one?
No, someone said.
What? You're already chuckling.
Someone's like.
Okay, so first thing, I know it's a lot of, like today is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The markets are at all-time highs. I'm going to start with what I don't like about that 3 months. I think the last time Adobe was in, this is what I didn't like. You just recently broke a monster support on Adobe at 280. Right? Like if you look at the structure on a really high time frame, like you just broke down, like this last quarter has been nasty losing that support. All of that said, you could be so late to a bounce here that you could spend an entire quarter just regaining like the 250 to like 320 level, and then that would be a stone's throw. So I think it's in a bottoming pattern there. It has yet to even break on the daily chart. Like it needs to break the 260. Like it hasn't really even done it. I like some catch-up plays. I'm not sure like this is the one that I'm in love with. Like for myself, I was half joking. Like when I said the bottom is in on Oracle, I didn't buy Oracle myself. It was just sometimes you just say stuff, and I'm not doing any dances over saying the bottom is in on Oracle, but this does look better. Like see, this is what Oracle's doing, and then Adobe down here, which I don't think has as good of a business by even a close long shot, has yet to really make that break over the 50 period on the daily. So I'm a little bit more skeptical of that one. I know we have a few super chats too. We've got Papacito. Hello, thanks for the show. Can you guys give tips for trades? Once they are I feel like I move, once you're in them, I feel like I move stop too early and you miss. So yeah, I think what usually happens, and then we're going to go to Money Talks and come back, is when you set up a trade, you know what, I moved my stop here and it was the wrong thing to do. Like I was long on Intel, still putting in higher lows. I stopped it out instead of just hanging on. I did re-enter the trade. That was a bit of a mistake. I think in order to move your stop, either the structure has to change. Why did I do it? The structure didn't change. Oh, I know why. Yeah, I know why. I moved it because it was this is why I did. Because it was a false breakout. Like there's your high in the pre-market, there's your lower high, and then it was like a fail of the volume weighted average price. What turned into kind of a short setup. So for me, that meant get out flat and then re-enter when it looks good. So to me, you have to have a good reason. See, I would just reason through why I was moving the stop, because what I thought was a long setup now just flashed a pretty big short signal. So I'll do that pretty much every time. If you can say that you would do it every time and it wasn't some one-off gut feeling, then what you should be doing overall is if you have a trade structure like bottoming tail candle, hold a VWAP, long here, stop there, a movable object. That is a trend trade. I'm not moving my stop because I know, and should I have held it longer? Fine, but like you know what you're doing. That's your plan of action. It's long here, stop there, let it fly. You know, and like with Micron, trend break, long here, stop at the prior bar, and go into the volume weighted average price. Now, when it's against the grain, once it breaks through first resistance, I might start trailing it higher. But I think you have to have like a plan of action before your trade that you can explain as what I'm looking for, where I'm wrong, and all that kind of thing, so that you don't necessarily second guess yourself. It would take something pretty convincing because you've already lined up the risk that they're allocating toward that trade. And then you're just executing after the fact, not going so ad hoc.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know.
Still.
It's still rolling it. I don't know, Papacito. I don't really know what to say to you. I'll say some nice things because you don't really say nice things to me. But I mean, you move the stops too early. Just stick to the game plan. Put something in there and just abide by it. All right. And hopefully you didn't go oppo here today because Tesla now up 4% on the session and just absolutely squeezing. Let's go over to Adara. We got a couple more. Did you take a look at Danny's? We got a couple more super chats as soon as we get back from Adara.
I'll be brief. We do have some Fed speak coming up. We're going to get 11:30 a.m., I believe, Fed's daily. Then at 2 p.m., Fed's Barkin. There is a comment from 12:15 from Fed's Waller, but I think he's just going to be repeating an old speech. So either way here, Fed talk on watch. Nothing super massive for the rest of the day. U.S. dollar finding some resistance now at that 98.20 area over the last 3 days after previously last week rejecting that 99.1 level. Be aware, we did break through yesterday's low. We've noticed here, when you get these kind of ceasefire announcements, the U.S. dollar, which I guess sometimes may be viewed as, of course, reserve currency, also sometimes safe haven, it does tend to push lower. We got the gap down when we first had the ceasefire announcement, the 2-week ceasefire between the U.S., Iran, and Israel coming through Tuesday night. The Wednesday, April 8th, we do get that gap down. Today, pushing lower as, again, Iran saying, hey, Strait of Hormuz has been reopened for commercial vessels and only with coordination here from the Iran Revolutionary Guard. So that's a bit of an update. We did not have any economic data today. And we do have, I guess as a result of this news with Iran and likely some inflation concerns with energy being alleviated, at least for now, bit of a change here in what we're expecting for the cuts. Now, as of the last couple of weeks, we've seen first rate cut likely to be September to December 2027. That's being bumped up to June 2027 with actually some Fed funds tools apparently showing that we might get a cut sometime this year. That time will still likely not be April, though, in the meeting just under 2 weeks away from now, 29th of April, 2026. Still expecting nearly 100% chance of a rate hold. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara.
Weren't we talking about that? I know what you're here. We'll pull it up.
Yeah, totally.
You're like, hey, some of this buying pressure, essentially. Some of this buying pressure off of these lows, so you're starting to see a little bit of that. But we were talking about this just before the open, like you get that pull back into the volume weighted average price, and then it's tank city after that. Yep. So, yeah, it's been a pretty good one. We got a couple more super chats there. Daniel's son of Daniel Gouda Guru. Okay, I like provolone, to be honest with you. I think that one's a good fit. Can we refer to today as the day silver went totally spam? For sure. A lot of things are going absolutely nuts here today. Bitcoin doing that. We had a couple more. You put $5.
Is spam a good thing?
Is spam a good thing? No, I don't think. I don't think so.
The silver's up, so I feel like going spam to me would be going down.
Oh, okay.
Like spam is bad. Unless you look, whatever you're into. Going long. David says going long on Vandalay Industries. Go long on latex. Be the master of your domain. Be the master of your domain, everybody.
Freep, get that one. I don't really get.
Like I said, give it a chance.
Okay,
give it a chance, Joe. Give it a chance. This one's for you, Joe.
It's a massive cult. Yeah, Joe, check out Black Books and it crowed. If you love British humor, happy Friday. Yeah, remember
IT Crowd.
IT Crowd, yeah. Remember Little Britain? Anybody ever watch that show? That show is like, oh, what is going on?
I know
here?
Keeping Up Appearances,
Yeah.
Yes Minister, Benny Hill's. My parents used to let me watch Benny Hill when I was a kid. I'm not sure that was appropriate, but it was really funny.
Yeah, this is
very inappropriate.
Love IT Crowd. Is it good? Yeah, okay. We'll check that one out here. We'll see if we can find that. People just do nothing absolutely hilarious. But something has to be going on with Tesla. Let's take a look at it from a daily because it's just continuing to climb higher here. Man, oh man, some days this thing will just beat you up about. This thing will just beat you to a pulp essentially, and then just go on. Yeah, trend break here as well too, Neil.
Oh,
bang, bung over there. All right, Papacito, I see your thing. Papacito with 17.9. Joe, you're wrong about me not being nice to you. I wish you to print sorry if you felt bad. I remember you said no offense taken, and you still took some. This guy is, I don't know. I have to meet this individual in person, man. This guy is crazy all the time. For the longest time, he'd be like, hey, for days, I would see what he said, right? Like I pay attention to what he has in the chat. And for days, he'd be like, hey, Joe, man, thanks for the trade. I seen you were going long this name. I went short and printed up a storm. And like every day, I would see the exact same thing. And it's just like, brother, like, come on, man, cut me some slack, Papacito. But aside from that, man, it is what it is. It's been a good one. But yeah, I mean, you can laugh at it a little bit when it's a good one.
So I just saw in the chat someone saying, I've been waiting for, it's a Mr. G. I've been waiting days for them to talk about AMC and they won't do it. Now the thing is, maybe you're watching the morning show. I know in the afternoon, at least several times in this recent bounce from 1 o'clock, AMC has been mentioned. We specifically were going over dip buys in the market, and people talk about how, I didn't buy enough and this and that, and how like percentage-wise, AMC is literally one of the best dip buys you could have made off the $1 level. We did mention it, and it is continuing. And I remember specifically when we were asked about it, it's like, well, it had a pullback day, but the trend is still intact, and it's got plenty of room to the 200-period moving average. So you know what? I don't like the stock. I don't own the stock, but the trend is your friend to the end when it bends. The only thing that I would have some caution with, the market's at the highs and trying to pull back. The memory chip names are not cooperating, right? Like I know the last trade was a long in Micron, fair enough, but it came into VWAP, and the structure of this is saying if it cannot get above 462, this thing is looking like a short. And it's the same thing with SNDK. Like that's even weaker. And we just hit the high of the day. SanDisk just broke the low of the day. So it's always important to keep in mind where the relative strength and weakness is. What I'm going to be looking for at lunch is maybe catching the next dip buy in Intel.
I'm ahead of
get over there. We'll let Joe. Man. Joe's doing with Sean off, by the way. Joe's all day on the show.
All day.
Like, and it's not just when we start at 8:30 or 8 o'clock. We start at 8 o'clock now. We used to start at 8:30. It's not just that. Like he's in earlier, preparing the upgrades and the downgrades, and the options report that he does, preparing to trade during the day.
Thank you.
And then he has to do this, somehow eat, and then come back and do the afternoon show for everybody. And then yesterday we stuck around for a little bit to make sure we got the Netflix earnings to you guys.
So that. I'm joking.
No, so
I'm joking.
Give some love for Joe putting in mad work. So when I'm going to be enjoying lunch, and by the way, I don't have the email for lunch where I tell you I do the whole like what is for lunch deal, but I don't actually know what lunch is. So I'm going to do the thing where I guess. I guessed wrong yesterday. We ended up with it was just like a barbecue chicken and some sticky rice. It was good. But I guessed fish yesterday because we hadn't gotten fish this week. So now I'm even more convinced that we are going to get plagued with tilapia today. So that's my guess is going down that road. I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. We'll see. But like I said, it was delicious yesterday, so definitely happy with that. I'm looking for possibly an Intel bounce. I'll see if we can get back into Bitcoin. That's another one we'll be watching. But I feel like it's been a pretty clean one, like three. Was able to hit the longs that I wanted and then catch one sort of out of nowhere. And then the term I like to use is maybe get away with one and go long a weak stock and then win anyways, which sometimes works out. I do want to look at, I just realized